Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. In the NBA, Shams Charania is reporting that the New York Knicks are hiring two-time NBA Coach of the Year Mike Brown to be their next head man. Brown was previously the coach of the Sacramento Kings from 2022 to 2024 and has made stops at other franchises like the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors, and LA Lakers. Also, the Detroit Pistons are signing guard Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat to a 3-year deal worth $48 million, and the Charlotte Hornets are signing guard Trey Mann to a 3-year, $24 million extension. In the NFL, former Defensive Player of the Year T.J. Watt has still not reached a deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that the trade talks are heating up. Also, the Seattle Seahawks are signing former Vikings cornerback Shaquille Griffin, who spent his first 4 seasons with Seattle. Lastly, in soccer news, Nashville SC has been on fire and will be searching for another win this Saturday in Philadelphia. Game time is set for 7:30 p.m. Central, and you can listen to it here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome in 3HL 104.5 The Zone Wednesday edition, which means it is Hump Day.
Hump Day.
That wasn't bad. I mean, we need Slay for that, for real. But anyway, got to keep it going. Slayman doing PT today. Can't wait till he can get on in here and rejoin the team and tell y'all all about his knee replacement surgery and everything that went along with that. That will happen soon. By the way, we're out tomorrow and Friday in celebration of the 4th of July, and we hope you guys have a great weekend. We do have a busy show for you today. We're going to talk lots of Titans football. Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com, will join us at 3:20. We'll hit him with some Titans topics. Also, Coach Mack, presented by Two Rivers Ford at 4 o'clock. Todd Ferman, our guy in Vegas, going to try to find some value in college football and NFL teams as we sit here on July the 2nd in terms of win totals in 2025. Yeah, she's here. Dawn Davenport's here.
Hi. Sorry, I was talking to the boss man.
Hang on. There you go.
I'm in the building. Sorry, I was talking to the boss man real quick.
Boss man. Who, Big Boss Bert?
No, the bigger one.
Oh, Paul Mason.
Yeah.
Look how patriotic you are today.
I know. It's our last day. I had to wear my red, white, and blue. Damn, I got my red sparkle shoes on.
Oh, here we go. This is where the camera gets your ankle. I don't know.
Got it.
I'm in a delay on the thing. It'll take me a minute to get your leg on my
I think I pulled a muscle
on my iPad. But yeah, you've got the red, white, and blue shirt, the red, white, and blue earrings, the bedazzled shoes. Yeah, you cannot.
America, baby.
You cannot see your shoes. All you can see is like your calf and your thigh.
Oh, God. Well, that's not a good thing. Here, let me do it this way. Is that better?
I like how you try again. When you first, what is it? When you don't first succeed, try again.
Try again. It's like we can see it now.
Like I said, I'm in a delay on my YouTube feed, so it takes me a minute to get there. But we do appreciate you guys being with us, and you can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. Yes, I got
Twitch, please.
I got a great shot of your shoe that time.
Okay, there you go. Yep. Yeah. I am 4th of July out a little bit early since we're not going to be here tomorrow or Friday. So I figure I might as well go for it today. We live in the best country in the world. I know that there's a lot of division, but we live in the best country in the world. There's
no question about that. And as I always say, if we all agreed on everything, it would be a boring place. But your Babs' Prize Closet's open today.
Oh, yes, it is.
Your chance to win tickets to the UFC returning to Nashville.
Oh, that's right. I did know this.
With a clash of heavyweight knockout artists, Derek Lewis, we had on the show.
Oh, this is the Lewis fight.
Yeah, Big Black Beast.
Him and Slay are...
Isn't that his nickname?
Have already planned to get together. That's going to be trouble.
Have they really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is fun. So anyway, the UFC Fight Night at Bridgestone Arena is Saturday, July 12th, and you'll have a chance to win in the 5 o'clock hour. So stay tuned. Also, we'll be dropping our YouTube vid of our in-studio conversation with former Vandy star and NFL wide receiver and tight end Jordan Matthews on July 4th. So that'll be for your consumption on Friday.
Your consumption.
Yes, and we'll actually play a couple of cuts from that conversation a little bit later in the show. He's phenomenal, man. Such a smart dude, and giving back to the community. He's got a celebrity softball game coming up at Hawkins Field this game is on July 11th. They've got a home run derby at 6. The game is at 7. Gates open at 5 o'clock. And you can get tickets, MatthewsMission.com. MatthewsMission.com.
Tickets are cheap, too.
Yeah, Diego Pavia is playing. Tony Kemp's playing. They got a bunch of guys involved. Sean Johnson, the former gymnast.
It's $7 for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not expensive.
They'll have food trucks there for you.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about, he said they're going to try to steal some stuff from the Savannah Bananas. Like in terms
Savannah Bananas.
In terms of in-game activation.
I love it.
615-737-1045 if you want in. Tom says, very patriotic earrings, Babsy.
Yes, I am all in.
Tom also says, yes, this escaped me. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
That's it.
Brent says, what's up, y'all? Oh, that's me. Patricia said, it's hump day, Mayor.
Yes, it is. Doesn't it feel weird, though? It's a weird week. I feel like a lot of people are off already.
It's a weird week. I don't know. Like, we typically don't take very many days off, honestly. Like that
we never have.
Unless
like,
we use
back to
vacation
back.
days or something like that. And we work days that are typical holidays. And I'm not complaining about that at all because we love what we do and we're very fortunate and blessed to be able to do what we do. So we're glad to be here on President's Day, for example, or whatever.
Or what is it, Labor Day?
Labor Day. We're working Labor Day because it's the Monday after college football season begins. And I think that's why we get Thursday.
Well, but then our big boss, like the head of the company, decided to give everybody Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That was nice of her.
Oh, so then we just earned a day.
Yes.
That we will not take.
Nope. Exactly. But that's okay.
Man.
We have the best job. Look at me. I'm just like happy-go-lucky. We live in the best country. We have the best job. I met Ross's parents last night, by the way.
This is amazing, you two. Ross lives in Babs' neighborhood. Yep. Then we find out this week that Ross also is from Plano, Texas, as Babs is.
Was born in Plano.
Yeah.
I should have asked your mom if it was Plano General. I totally forgot to ask her last night when I met them. I met them at Las Palmas.
Shout out to the best Mexican spot in town.
That's right. So listen to what I
like
did.
all of the Mexican. Like I've got many that I frequent.
I know. I just love them.
There's one right behind our station,
and it's actually really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's really good.
Super Rica and the Gulch is really good.
Okay, I haven't done that.
Yeah. It's really good.
So yes,
and then Federale's just opened up down Division Street across from Frugal McDougal.
Look at you. You know all of them.
I know all the spots.
So last night, another shout out to our people at Las Palmas. So Baby Babs gets a cheese quesadilla. I'm like cutting it in half. You know, the kids one or whatever. I go to cut it in half. Shoom, whole plate on the floor. Everything. Her fries, her quesadilla, like all of it. And I'm like, ugh. And it wasn't even my toddler. It was me that did it. Like, I couldn't even blame it on the kid.
How did Hadley react? Was she upset?
She just looked at me and she goes, "It's okay, Mommy. Accidents happen."
No.
I was like, okay.
Wow.
Good. Thanks, babe.
Because a lot of kids would have thought, I'm not getting any more. Like, that was my meal. Like, in the moment.
She did not care about that in the moment. She was good with her chips, her 12 pounds of chips that she ate.
I gotcha.
But anyway, they immediately came out. I was on the floor cleaning it up, and, you know, the manager was like, "Oh, what happened?" I'm like, "It was me. It wasn't her. It was me." And so 5 minutes later, she had a new plate at no charge.
Did you have a margarita?
A very large one. and it was fabulous. And shout out to, I didn't get his name, but there was somebody else there who was like, how's Slay doing?
Mom told me about that.
Love y'all's show. They were sitting right next to, and I missed his name, but I think his wife was like, who the heck is this and why are you talking to her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, she's on the zone. She was like, okay.
That meant nothing to her either.
Nothing to her.
What the hell's the zone?
But hey, shout out to all our friends at Las Palmas.
There you go. So yesterday I was giving Wimbledon updates just a little bit because I know most of y'all don't care about what's going on there, but I do. And I was talking about a tennis player named Bublik, and it's Bublik, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, Bublik did this, and Bublik did that, and Davenport's like, are you sure you're pronouncing that correctly? Like, shouldn't it be?
How is that spelled?
So I spelled it, and she goes, you may want to go with Bublik. And I was like, well, it's Bublik. And so then I got it. It took me a minute. The heat's getting
thinking along those lines, and you're not?
Yeah, so Lady Vol Titan tweeted, heard y'all on the way home, and all I can say is Bublik. So, yeah, you never know what you're going to get on 3HL. That is for
what the hell? It's
sure.
3HL.
Man, where do I even start? There's a couple of NBA stories.
What's the most interesting thing today, do you think?
I don't know. I think this is going to be one of those days where we go off the rails a little bit.
Nope. I'm not allowing it. It's not happening. Listen, I just had to visit with the big boss. We ain't going off the rails.
Okay, I do have a question to ask at some point, and there is reason behind the question. So it's not me just trying to hate on something, okay? Because I don't care like that. But I tell people all the time, like doing our job. Like you grow up an SEC fan and you grow up a fan of the school that you love and all this stuff, and then you have disdain for everybody else, right? Doing our job, we know great people at all of the schools. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And so it becomes a thing for us as like, I know y'all think we hate on your team sometimes. That's really, at least I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, that's not really the case.
Slay does if you're playing the Vols.
That's where I am.
Just that week.
And for me, it's just during the game. Like during the game, I'm all in. I'm wearing orange. Let's go, But so I say this because I think it's a valid question. Is Kentucky football broken? There's a story out there that we keep following about a longtime Kentucky assistant and really good friend back to high school of Mark Stoops, who went from Kentucky, Vince Merrill, went from Kentucky to Louisville. Now we know the money involved. My man wanted the hell out of there. Allegedly
a large pay cut.
On3.com has this story. We'll tell you about it in just a little bit. But that is one thing we can dig into today.
Yeah.
From NotBrooks _12, Alabama coach Nick Saban was asked by Ryan Clark to list his favorite Alabama player. And Ryan Clark was like, I know there are a lot of them, blah, 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 blah. Well, Saban did name 5 players.
5?
He named 5.
I can't believe he did that. That's very out of character for him. He don't give it anymore.
Yeah, I think it was part of an ESPN thing they were doing. So I think maybe like contractually he probably had to answer on some level. But like
all of them he coached. Yeah. Was it under his
like regime? Jalen Hurts is not one of the 5. Like when you just go 5, you're gonna.
I can see that.
Right, but you're gonna leave off some people that are gonna be like, "Hey, coach." Like,
I know Derrick Henry's on there.
Derrick Henry is on there.
Yeah.
I think 2 of the names will surprise you. So we will do that today. Also, I do want to pay tribute to Mike Breen a little bit. Longtime NBA play-by-play announcer Mike Breen. He was on 3HL a long time ago. Super, super guy. He's retiring after more than 3 decades in broadcasting. He was the voice of the NBA Finals for 18 straight years, this guy. Oof. And he's so good at what he does. Also, the New York Knicks hiring a retread. We'll talk about that. NBA, man.
Shocker.
I think you might have gotten got on that, by the way, because I almost fell for it.
What?
It's a Twitter account called Scam Sharania instead of Sham Sharania.
Oh, so they're not hiring him.
But no, Mike Breen is not retiring. The play-by-play announcer.
Oh, Mike Breen is not retiring.
A little parody account.
Okay, so.
Why do people do that? It's so dumb.
It's so stupid.
It is stupid.
dumb.
It's so dumb.
It
Like,
almost
do you
not
have
be.
nothing better to do with your time or your life?
But that's good news then. At least they didn't say he was dead or something. Although I probably would have checked a little harder on that one.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Mike Breen, good. But Mike Brown is being hired as a New York Knicks coach.
Don Staley interviewed for that. Did you see that?
Wow.
Unless it was a parody account.
No, she did. She did.
Dude, I'd have hired her over Mike Brown. I understand 2-time NBA Coach of the Year, right? Like, I mean, if you coach long enough, whatever. But he's also coached multiple teams and left multiple teams for a reason, right? But the NBA just does that. Who's available? Yeah, who's been? I mean, he's been in NBA coaching either as an assistant or head coach since 1997.
I feel like
almost 30 years.
Lots of leagues do that. I mean, for a long time, it was the NFL.
Yeah, once you can get a job, you're good.
You're good, yeah.
It's like a kicker. A kicker in the NFL, you're good. You just got to get that first job, and then you just ask the Titans. How many former Titans kickers are kicking around the league right now? Tons.
I mean, at least 4.
All right, coming up, Jim Wyatt talks Tennessee Titans football. That's next. 3HL 1045 The Zone.
It's not. When you throw those keys to, that 14, 15, 16-year-old, the one out there that's just got the permit to be able to go out there and drive a little bit, maybe just go to school. Accidents happen. They pop up. What are you going to do? You can't be there for everything. You can't be the protector, but you can have somebody there to fight for you, which is like protecting. Car accidents happen all the time. Bart Durham Injury Law is who you need to have on deck, ready to call. 615-242-9000. That's for your kids out there. That's for these teenagers out there, the young adults that are just still up under your insurance and you trying to figure out, how am I going to make it happen? That's what Blair Dorman and his team, they've been fighting for folks in Tennessee for years, making sure insurance companies pay up. No upfront costs, no waiting around, just real people making sure you get what you deserve. Bart Durham Injury Law is real simple. Here 24/7, ready to fight for you. 615-242-9000, BDIL.
3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport with you. Slay Dog will return day to day.
Next week, maybe.
Yeah. He sent us a video from PT today.
It was not pretty.
It's a tough process, man. It was amazing how many people were in the room. You know, like how many people go through all this stuff.
And then hear him yelp in pain.
Yeah.
I think yelp is a good word, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to my father-in-law last night, who has had both his knees replaced.
Let me say this. He was doing really well. Like, he was really pushing it. Like, he's a competitor. You know what I mean?
I thought I heard her say he was at like 80-something%, which is pretty darn good for, 3 days out, 4 days out.
Whatever it is.
I don't know. But I don't know what's good or not. Anyway, my father-in-law last night was like, oh, well, he's not going to need the pain medication until the bad part is PT. Once they start moving that thing, I'm like, sure enough, that's the video we got this morning.
615-737-1045, always the number. Yeah, Patricia, we were talking about, we have fun trash talking and stuff like that, but it's never personal, is I guess kind of the point I was making. Because we all have our teams, right? But Patricia said, we showed up in our Vandy shirts at Twin Peaks one time, and you all were so sweet about it. Of course, man.
Oh, sometimes we're sweet.
Let's see. What else do we have? Come on, one said, who y'all calling? Ross, that one was on you.
Sorry about that. Got a little ringtone in there.
We were calling this guy.
Ross is still learning.
Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. Jimmy, what's up? How are you?
Much. How you guys doing?
We are good. How was the trip out west? Have you done that?
It was great. Yeah, I had
Okay.
a great trip out west. I know, Don, we saw Chesney. I heard you saw Chesney in the Sphere out there. I took my crew to see Chesney in the Sphere, and then we went to Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon National Park. Had a great time. It was a great trip. I loved the Chesney concert out there.
Was that not the coolest venue? Like, I had seen videos of it, of the exact concert, but it just doesn't do it justice till you're in it. Wasn't it awesome?
It's great. Yeah, I was lucky enough to see you two Super Bowl week out there a couple of years ago, but my seat kind of was the lower level and had a little bit of the overhang on there. So I was middle of the third level, which I thought was a perfect seat.
That's the perfect seat.
Yeah, and I thought it was spectacular. Yeah, it was. Had a great time. Wife and my kids and significant others all loved it, and had a big time in Vegas. So it was a great trip, and he's already announced he's coming back next year. I can see me going back out there and seeing him again.
I saw that.
Look at that. And it's funny. I think people should know that about the Sphere. If you're planning on going, the 300 level, I've heard from anybody that's been, was the correct place to be.
Yes.
Because a lot of people want to get as close as you can to the stage, and that's not necessarily
No, it's very different than a normal show.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yes, and there's probably not. I mean, this is one venue where you're definitely. You're not seeing the stage quite as good as you could if you were down low, but you're seeing the screen and you're getting a better visual as opposed to the first level where you're kind of looking straight up part of the time. I thought I was section 304, and I thought that was about a perfect seat. So it's something. If people hadn't been out there, it's quite a venue, different way to see a concert.
Jimmy, did you bring back some of my money that I left in Vegas by chance?
Yeah, luckily I don't really gamble much. I learned my lesson in college. I lost some money. It was a good wake up call for me back in the day, and so I don't gamble. I'm not supposed to, working for the NFL anymore either. But,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I can honestly say I don't bet anymore because I get scared straight as a college student.
Well, it's also fun to watch other people bet. You know, like I stood there and watched Dawn and Slay play blackjack one night for like 3 hours.
I know it is more fun when somebody else's money is on the line.
Yeah. Well, I just kept thinking like I would hit here. I would so my brain was always working, but it was fun, and there are drinks involved, so there's that. But
but it was great. Yeah, it was great. I love Vegas. We had a big time we went to Zion National Park. We ran into some people from Murfreesboro. Ran into some people that from kids go to DCA, and
Wow.
And then ran into another couple that was from Nashville too. So it was amazing. Way out there in middle of Utah, and there were a lot of people from Middle Tennessee.
Jim, before we get to
cool.
Titan stuff, we had a great conversation yesterday in studio with Jordan Matthews. He is a phenomenal guy. Still active in the NFL. Did get cut by the Carolina Panthers in May, but he may look for another opportunity. But he has a celebrity softball game coming up at Hawkins Field on July 11th, and he's got Tony Kemp, who just retired from Major League Baseball. He's got Diego Pavia playing in it, all kinds of Vandy guys. But it was funny because, since we were having him on, I went back and looked at his stats against Tennessee, and I said that to him, and he just smiled ear to ear. He goes, "Come on, come with it."
Yeah.
And then he said, crushed him.
4 years, 31 receptions, 384 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, and a 47-yard rushing touchdown. He also said he had another touchdown called back against the Vols. But, man, he played for Robbie Caldwell and then all 3 of James Franklin's years. With no offer. Did you know this part of his story? He had no offers coming out of high school until Robbie Caldwell called him on Christmas Eve and offered him a scholarship to Vanderbilt.
Okay, I didn't realize that it came that late. I knew he wasn't really a sought-after recruit. He's from Huntsville area, isn't he?
Yeah, Madison,
small
Alabama.
town, yeah.
Yeah, and but just one of those just shows you, they've got all these, and a lot of times they're right on with
for sure,
4 stars and 5 stars, but you can have guys come out of nowhere and become great players, and he certainly qualifies one of the best receivers ever come out of Vandy.
No question about that, and it's such an incredible story to think about. He said he was lying on the field when they lost their last high school football game with no offers. He thought he would never play another football game again, and he goes from that to an offer on Christmas Eve. How great a Christmas present is that? And then an 11-year career so far in the NFL. I mean, phenomenal. You should write that book, Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my favorites that's come through there.
So we randomly got onto a topic the other day because things just float into my mind that come from I don't know where, and then they go straight into a microphone. But I told Babs, I said, you know what? I was just thinking, I would be more than cool with Will Levis as the backup quarterback for the Titans. And our chat on YouTube and Zone TV just started going crazy with people were like, hell yeah, he's the best guy. That's, the second best guy on the roster. And then other people were like, no, it'll be a divisive situation in the locker room. I couldn't believe the reaction I got from that. But Will Levis is a talented quarterback. He has a lot of arm talent, and he's better, in my opinion, than Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle.
Yeah, and I agree, but I can't say with certainty how things are going to play out there. I mean, I'm with you in that I think if something happened to Cam Ward, Will Levis is the best option to step in and win some games for you. But there are other factors certainly in play, and I think Will has handled it well. I mean, he's obviously disappointed that he's in the situation he's in right now, and you can tell by talking to him that it's hard on him. But he's trying to be as good a teammate as he can and trying to handle it with as much class as he can. We still got a couple of months before the season starts, so I mean, I think he'll remain with them in camp and compete in the preseason, and depending on how he does in the preseason, could dictate, what kind of offers or what kind of chatter could take place leading up to the season, because I think that some teams certainly could benefit from having Will Levis, and if somebody makes an offer you can't refuse, I think you've got to entertain it. But I'd be a little bit more worried going into the year without Levis on the roster, because Brandon Allen, he's played some, hadn't played a lot. Tim Boyle just hasn't had a lot of success. So if something happens to Cam Ward, are you going to feel great about things with one of those other guys? I just don't know that you are, and so we'll have to see how this one plays out. But I think Will is, he came into a tough situation here. Certainly had a lot to prove. I thought he was on the way to doing it, but injuries and some other things that have really kept him from being able to really endure himself to a lot of the fan base, and I think that's still the case.
Jim Wyatt with us, TennesseeTitans.com. Tell me about Gunnar Helm. Jordan Matthews talked about working out with him over at Lipscomb, I think is where he said they work out together. Mm-hmm. He said, I played with Zach Ertz a long time. He goes, this guy is big and he can move his body. He thinks he's going to be a really good player.
He used the word crisp.
Yeah.
He's crispy.
Yeah, I've liked the looks of him. I think even, maybe it was Nick Holtz or it could have even been Brian Callahan who said that he seems like he did something to get your attention every OTA or mini camp practice. I mean, he looks the part. He's got a great mindset. I think he's a really talented player. I look at that room now, and I have to say, with Okonkwo being the number one,
currently,
number one. I think Helm's got a chance to work himself into place some. I have to say, I was really impressed with David Martin Robinson this offseason, somebody who came in as an undrafted last year. He had a great offseason. I noticed him more than maybe even Josh Whalley during the course of the offseason. So I'm curious to see, but like everything else, when you get the pads on, that's going to tell you a lot more. But I think Gunnar Helm has got a chance to rapidly climb and put himself in a position where he could help right out of the gate.
L'Jarius Sneed's comments have kind of gone everywhere now since he spoke really for the first time in a long time at his camp. And even went first person at the end. It's time for me to show everybody again what L'Jarius Sneed's all about, kind of paraphrasing. But I'm sure you heard those and said that he's as healthy as he's ever been. What do you expect? And we've talked a lot about it on this show, Jimmy, about how the brass and the coaching staff and the people with inside sources, they're all say nobody's concerned that L'Jarius Sneed won't be out there and 100%. What is your take on this entire Sneed situation? And now he spoke.
I think he said what you kind of expect him to say, but like you said, Don, it's the first time he's talked in a while, and people are just kind of hungry to find out what shape he's in and where he's going to be when camp starts. I mean, the way I look at it and the way I observe things is, coaches, people with the team, they're counting on him being one of their top players and counting on him kind of returning to form this year after what was a really disappointing 2024 year. I just will say that he has had so many issues since he's been in Nashville and had trouble staying on the field, and he's going to have to prove it. And I don't know that you can completely turn him loose full go every day just because of some of the things he was dealing with when he got here. So I think it's still going to be a situation where you got to manage him, try to get him ready for the season, and hope that he is able to go and be a starting cornerback for you from week one all the way to the end of the season. But he's got to prove it, and we haven't seen it here. Kenny, some of it has been bad luck. Some of it was just a continuation of stuff he was dealing with from before. But I look at it as I kind of look at it if he turns into the guy that he was in Kansas City, that's great. It'll be a big bonus. But he's got a lot to prove, and he's got to show it. That's the most important thing.
How about the totally going off topic here, but we had some people yesterday in the chat that were like, "Oh, Jeff Fisher joined the Titans as a GM."
Somebody asked me that in the mailbag the other day. Where's that coming from?
I have no idea because we had no idea what they were talking about.
I had seen it.
Oh, you had?
Yeah, I had seen it.
Okay, so I guess somebody put out a fake story, and so my father-in-law asked me last night. He was like, "Is Jeff Fisher back with the Titans?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, yeah, they'd have 3 GMs then.
Yeah, that's obviously not going to happen. I was curious myself because somebody did ask that in the mailbag. It's the first I'd heard of it. It's not a scenario that's going to play out.
Do you get questions like that often? Like, where in the world is this coming from?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and there's so many things you can find online. Obviously, some have written by credible sources. Other ones that are just throwing stuff out there that get people talking, just like this one.
What's been let's go to the mailbag. What's been the bane of your existence in the mailbag topic wise?
I think probably a lot of Cam stuff, a lot of quarterback stuff, just like we're talking about with Levis. I think, certainly people have strong opinions on that. But I think for the most part, the tone of it or the mood is optimism from the fan base. I think people are excited about a new quarterback and some of the moves this team's made this offseason. Now you got to start playing games and winning to keep it that way. But I think things have kind of flipped from where we were in January for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I was looking at the website, a piece you put up about Morgan Cox and his mission trip to Uganda. Great piece. Everybody should go check it out. How cool was that to talk to him about, some of the things these guys do outside of football to help others?
Yeah, really cool for him. This is the second time he's been to Uganda, and it kind of started off with his church group, a mission group that wanted to go and help kids there, and pretty much started from scratch. These kids who were going to school with the teacher teaching them things in the dirt, and now they put them in a position where they've got classrooms and desks and electricity and a support group that has helped them grow from an elementary school to now a high school, and Morgan takes a lot of pride in being a big part of that and using his influence as an NFL player and resource that he has available to him to help others. So he's a great guy. I know you guys know Morgan, a great guy from grew up in Memphis and went to the University of Tennessee, and now going into his 16th year. He's really had a great career. Has done some great things off the field as well.
Yeah, that's a great story. I mean, 16 years, you find your niche as a long snapper and then just play forever. That's just awesome.
And go help people.
Yeah, go help people.
In the off season.
Jimmy helping us today. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Have a great 4th weekend, and we'll talk with you next week, brother.
Okay, appreciate you. Have a good week.
There
Thanks,
he is.
Jimmy.
There's Jimmy Wyatt at J Wyatt Sports. When we come back, is Kentucky football broken? We'll talk about it next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. I want to tell you about my friend John Pirtle, the president and CEO of eSpaces. Well, I'll tell you more about eSpaces than I will John, but he is a great guy. So if you know him, you know him. But anyway, he and his company doing great work for people out there that are trying to get things done, man. eSpaces.com. You can go to the website, see all of the things they have going on and what they can offer you. eSpaces, redefining co-working with exceptional offices for every business. 2 new Middle Tennessee locations opening this month. Cool Springs at Corporate Center and Brentwood at City Park. Designed for entrepreneurs, teams, and established professionals, featuring private offices, team suites, meeting rooms fully equipped, 24/7 access, flexible terms, beautiful professional spaces that are move-in ready, long-term or short-term or daily. Whatever you need to get your office needs utilized properly, you can do it with eSpaces.com. Whether you're scaling up or just getting started, eSpaces provides flexibility without compromise. Want to check it out? Tours available now. Reserve your space today. Visit eSpaces.com. You can see all 15 locations online and, again, what they have going on for you. Maybe you're looking for office space that matches the level of your business. This month, opening 2 more locations designed for professionals, teams, and entrepreneurs. eSpaces.com. That's the website. Again, eSpaces.com. 3HL 104.5, The Zone. Britt Doherty, Don Davenport with you. Ross is here.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
What's up?
You've been doing a good job filling Zeph's shoes while he's scouring the world.
People keep saying he sounds like Family Guy. Damn it, Bobby. Damn it, Slay.
Just add it to the list.
So Zeph is, where is Zeph now? He was posting stuff from the Vatican.
Yes.
Is that where he is?
Which his wife's family is Catholic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
So, yeah.
we both know someone that had a miracle happen by praying at the Vatican. I mean,
We got to see the
significant.
Pope speak when we were there.
You did?
Yes. And we are not Catholic, but it was extremely powerful.
Did you, you got engaged over there, didn't you?
I did. Love Italy. I want to move there. Even though the USA is the greatest country in the world.
Look at you. She's dressed as an American flag. I want to move to Italy.
Maybe we'll retire there or something.
Oh, man.
I mean, wine, beautiful, laid back. Their meals are like 6 hours long.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can't,
just
you
a
can't
different
tip anyone.
pace of life. No tips. Nope.
I forget why. What's the reason behind that? They take exception to it. But I don't remember what the reasoning is. But that's true. That's like all over Europe, I think.
It's awesome.
I've never been to Europe. Listen to me speak about Europe, and I've never been there.
Well, our expert who lived there for 15 years is not here today. So he did give Zeph about a 15 restaurant list of restaurants.
I was wondering what that was.
That's what it is.
So he gave Slay just randomly in our group text gave a bunch of restaurant recommendations, but I didn't know they were for Zeph. I just thought he was like naming off like Italian places around town that we need to go.
Yeah.
But then he was like,
because they
Zeph,
were
here
in
you
the
go.
Zeph. Zeph was in the chat talking to Slay and saying, "Where do we need to go eat?" That's why our family text chain went off.
Gingerbread and William said that's King of the Hill, not Family Guy. Yes, that's what I meant.
Right.
King of the Hill. Y'all got to know I get 50% of things right. That's where we are.
Yeah, 50-50.
Is Kentucky football broken?
That is the conversation. Where is Kentucky fan right now? Back on basketball?
With Mark Stoops?
Yeah.
Yeah, back on basketball.
Yeah. By the way, I saw a video of Stoops, and he's looking thin. Like skinny.
Do you think it's because he's stressed out?
Probably.
I'm going to say that losing that weight.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw somebody on Twitter that said, oh, his best friend who he used to go to, what's the Lexington steakhouse we always go to? I forget. Anyway, now moved to Louisville, so he's not going out to eat as much.
That's part of why I asked the question. So they were 4-8 last year. They were 1-7 in SEC play. I think their win total number, we're going to ask Todd this question. I think their win total, if I remember correctly, is 4.5. Maybe it's 5.5. Either way, it's less than bowl game eligibility. So if they have that kind of season, is Mark Stoops gone? And ultimately, so
I think he has to be.
We've talked, I agree. We've talked about, and it's funny because remember during COVID, you got him on 3HL and we did a Zoom interview with him and he got mad at me a little bit because I asked him about the Florida State opening.
Mm-hmm. But I asked him the morning, I worked a game the day that came out. It came out that morning that he had interviewed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had to ask him pregame, Stoops, this report came out. What can you tell me? He's like, gee, and when he gets fired up, he gets fired up.
And so then we had him on after that the next week. And so we had to ask him because that's what everybody's talking about. And he did not. He did not take too kindly to the question, but whatever. Maybe you should have taken the job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So here's why I asked the question. So former Kentucky associate head coach and longtime friend of Kentucky head coach Mark Stoops, Vince Marrow, took a pay cut to go to arch rival Louisville. So not only did he was associate head coach at Kentucky, he's been friends with Mark Stoops reportedly since high school.
Mm-hmm.
These are like best buddies.
They built Kentucky football. I mean, they took Kentucky football to where it had never been.
And so Marrow had like complete control, like final say on recruits and who to offer and all this stuff, and that changed toward the end. Who was it? It was Eddie
Gran.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people think that's why Marrow wanted to go to Louisville, but he didn't just leave Kentucky. He went to Louisville. That's like, Auburn going to Alabama, Mississippi going to Mississippi State. Like,
it might be worse.
Might be worse.
I mean, they hate each other.
So not only did he leave Kentucky to go to Louisville, he's going to make reportedly $700,000, and his signing bonus was $14,000. You can barely move for $14,000. He was set to make $1.3 million at Kentucky this year. And he's an analyst, or is he a GM? Maybe he's a GM.
He's the GM.
He's the GM.
Yep.
Now, the responsibilities of GM vary widely from school to school. Like at Stanford, the GM can hire and fire coaches. It's not like they're anywhere else. And
it's not like that there with Jeff Brom.
I don't know, right. And I don't know what his responsibilities are. My guess is he would have final say on who they offer, because that's what, reportedly he had at Kentucky that he liked to have. But, I mean, to take another job with your arch rival for half the money that you were about to make, that's saying something. Because it's not like different states and different tax laws. It's still the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Right. It's all the same.
Same taxes.
Yeah, it's not like you're going from California to Tennessee.
To Tennessee, where there's no say income tax.
Exactly.
So I don't know, is this may be a little graphic, but is Kentucky football like the Titanic right now, and everybody's just jumping off?
I think there's a lot to that move. Now, I will say, Kentucky Sports Radio put this article out on Twitter about him taking a pay cut, and Vince himself replied to it. What did he say? He said, let me find it so I know exactly. Well, anyway, I can't find it now. But anyway, he said, y'all are wrong or something like that. I mean, it's public knowledge. It's been reported by different people anyway. But,
I'm just asking the question. But yeah.
But you would think that maybe he also saw the writing on the wall of, if they don't win this year, they're probably going to be gone anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, don't you think if they don't win, they're done? And Jeff Brom's been trying to get Vince there for a long time, like years,
even
right when he
Purdue.
took the job.
Yeah, and Brom has Louisville going.
Yes.
They're
in a good spot.
Going. So I don't know. I mean,
think about it. Like, he has a lot of job security there in Louisville. I mean, when I did a game there, I went to his high school right there next to the stadium where, the whole family's on the wall at the high school. So there's some job security there on top of it.
Yeah, so we'll ask Todd Ferman about Kentucky football in 2025, see what he thinks.
Do you want their schedule real quick?
Yeah.
Open with Toledo, then host Ole Miss, Eastern Michigan, at South Carolina, at Georgia, host Texas, host Tennessee, at Auburn, host Florida, Tennessee Tech at home, at Vanderbilt, and then at Louisville.
That's going to be tough, man. Especially if you're not bowl eligible and you get spanked by Louisville. I mean,
it's going to be ugly.
So last year they started 3-2, so they ended. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1-6. They lost 6 of the last 7 games. The only game they won was against Murray State, who was awful. So yeah, interesting situation at Kentucky.
And I love Stoops. He's one of my favorites.
He's great. He's great.
I thought they were going to be decent last year too. I got fleeced.
And he found a way to get players at Kentucky, and we can go into depth about that. We have before, but it was a genius business model, and it worked. So, yeah, not to disparage Mark Stoops at all, but, like, when you start counting wins, that's how those guys get judged and whether they're fired or not. So, just interesting storyline up there. So, half the money to go to the rival. $14,000 signing bonus.
I mean, I think there's a lot more behind the scenes
For sure.
with their relationship too. So
Yeah, definitely. Coach Mack, presented by Two Rivers Ford, talking Titans football next, 3HL.
Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. So there is this sitting survey right now of leading window brands among homeowners. And I want to go through just a couple of what that survey said about Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Number one, Pella for highest quality and craftsmanship based on this survey of leading brands among homeowners, rated number one by Nashville homeowners for highest craftsmanship as the window brand that stands behind their products for highest quality. A window brand that pays attention to detail, voted number one, and number one by Nashville homeowners as providing the highest value. That's just a couple. I mean, I could take my entire time here and tell you what they were voted number one in. And I can tell you, I've used them myself. I had a coworker say, hey, do you really like Pella? Or do you just talk about it on the air? No, I really like Pella. And we used them in our house and my rental property, and they are the absolute best. They have a Dawn deal. They let me do this every month for you. And for the month of July, ask them about 60% off qualifying installations plus 0% APR for 36 full months. So you don't even have to pay your windows off for 36 months. It's called the Dawn Deal. Schedule your free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Check out that Dawn Deal, and you can do it all online. PellaNashville.com.
Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. In the NBA today, Shams Charania is reporting that the New York Knicks are hiring two-time NBA Coach of the Year Mike Brown to be their next head man. Brown was previously the coach of the Sacramento Kings from 2022 to 2024 and has made stops at other franchises such as the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Also, the Detroit Pistons are signing guard Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat to a 3-year deal worth $48 million. And the Charlotte Hornets are signing guard Trey Mann to a 3-year, $24 million extension. In the NFL, former Defensive Player of the Year TJ Watt has still not reached a deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that the trade talks are heating up. Also, the Seattle Seahawks are signing former Vikings cornerback Shaquille Griffin to the team. Shaquille spent his first 4 NFL seasons with Seattle. Lastly, in soccer news, Nashville SC has been on fire and will be searching for another win this Saturday in Philadelphia. Game time is set for 7:30 p.m. Central, and you can listen to it right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Britt Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. There she is finishing her iced coffee.
It's so good.
Caffeine in the afternoon. Todd Davenport.
Let's go.
Does that affect like your sleep pattern at all?
Probably.
Everybody, like when they tune in for the first time, we keep getting comments about your patriotism over there.
I know. USA, USA, USA.
Go America.
America.
And kind of Italy as well.
And kind of Italy, because I want to live there.
What about West Texas? You want to live in West Texas?
Nah. I'll leave that to Coach Mack.
Coach Mack joins us now at 3HL. He's doing the Coach Mack tour this summer. Coach Mack, what's up? How are you?
Brent, Don, I'm doing good. How's our guy Rod Slade doing? Give me a report.
Well, I think he hit like 85% movement on his PT today on his knee. Now, he might have cried like a baby, but
wow,
he did it. I think he posted it online.
This is the analyst, Don Davenport.
Did he have that surgery, Don?
He had it Friday, which is pretty good,
well,
right?
You need to talk to him because I know he'll listen to you. He needs to kind of slow his roll a little bit because he's got the type of personality he'll try to do it all at once, and that doesn't work for that.
Yes, yeah. You can tell in his PT sessions, like he videos them, that he's
very competitive.
Very competitive.
Yes.
Well, and that's the former athlete, and that's just they figure if they tell me to do this amount, if I double it, I can get that much quicker. And sometimes it doesn't work like that. You need to protect him from himself, Don.
Yeah.
You need to talk to him.
Well, it's funny, though. He sends the video to the sideline reporter who then tells all of Nashville that he cried like a baby.
I think he put it online, too, though.
Oh, yeah, but that was your analysis, your professional analysis.
I know, and he's not even here to take me down.
There is no shame in shedding tears when you're rehabbing those things.
Right.
I can remember, when I was with Vanden Bosch, and he tore an ACL in each knee in consecutive years. Mm-hmm. And I think you would agree, and everybody else that ever was around Vanden Bosch here knows what a tough human being he was. I mean, I could hardly go into the training room when he was screaming when they were trying to stretch that thing out.
Oof, I can only imagine. And yeah, the KVB was something else too, especially when the switch was flipped. By the way, I think he lives in Arizona now. Yes. And I think I saw him on Twitter. He put video where he's like picking up a rattlesnake to like remove him from his yard. Like that just tells you all you need to know about KVB.
Does that surprise you? He's
Not
a
a bit.
Special teams coach at Brophy High School.
Oh, okay.
Is that right?
I knew he was coaching high school, yeah. You
know what I remember about him when he was rehabbing? I think it was the second ACL. He wasn't cleared to practice, but he wasn't on field 3. He was where the team was doing team drills. Whenever they snapped the ball, he would line up out of bounds as if he were rushing the quarterback, and he would run all the way to the end of the field.
You are 100% right, Brent. I mean, that was him. I mean, I've had a few encounters with my former players because, when it came down to it, sometimes talking about Ron, you got to protect them from themselves. And after that first one, when I was holding him out of training camp and wouldn't let him, I seriously thought he was going to come across my desk and choke me. It was that close. And of course, we're very close because I stood on the table during the draft day for him and said if it matters who the head coach wants on this team, because the room wanted somebody else. I said, I want Vanden Bosch. Joe Green absolutely loved him.
Yeah,
and so that's. But anywho, I can empathize with Ron Slay what he's going through.
Who did the room want, Coach?
Well, you know what? I'd hate to disparage people and to say I was right and they were wrong, but they were wrong.
We'll leave it at that. I thought I would try. So I'm curious with roster work right now. I'm curious what the coaches are doing because when players start to get released, you got to be able to think quickly, and the Titans obviously have a favorable waiver position, that's for sure. But how much time do they spend kind of thinking about the roster in terms of chess pieces and what might come open and when and all of those things? Like, that's not something you do in the moment.
Yeah, the front office does is all the time. The front office really is never off as far as with the personnel, because you're right, Brent. The personnel part of it is all year. And especially, you're correct. Having that first claiming spot for at least the first 3 weeks of the season, that they are absolutely on top of the coaches. Now the coaches,
yeah.
If something were to come up, they will contact them. But right now, the coaches, this is their family time. Now, once the 4th of July hits, then the coaches will start, working back into what they're gonna do. But the coaches have been off, since they cut the rookies loose. But the front office, they're on this constantly. It's a legitimate question because the front office are the people that are on this right now.
What did you think about, this isn't Titans related, but I'm just curious because it was a pretty big offseason deal, but the trade that sent Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh for Minkah Fitzpatrick, the 3 really good players. And Jonnu Smith had a career year last year, obviously a former Titan. What did you think about that deal?
Well, I think the Jonnu Smith thing is all of Arthur Smith, getting in the ear of the people involved, because
Forgot about that.
Arthur and Jonnu have always had a very, very good. He was this position coach here at first.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he was the coordinator. They've always had a very close relationship, and so that didn't shock me. I'm sure he was in Tomlin's ear about that. Jalen Ramsey, to me, has done a really great job of all the moves that he's made. He's played well. He's a really, really good player. The thing that he's done so well, he's smart enough to get out ahead of things, in my opinion. And Minkah Fitzpatrick was down there to begin with. Really, it was a player for player trade. When you get down to the bottom of that, if what I read about it is correct, that's pretty unusual at any time, but especially this time of year. But they're both of the guys, the principals in this, are really good players. And then I know that Arthur had a huge hand in getting Jonnu back with him.
I forgot about that. That makes so much sense.
Well, and that goes back to what we were talking about.
And Arthur loves a tight end.
That goes back to what we were talking about, like how much of an ear do coaches have and with front office guys? And I guess it's different team to team.
Every situation is different. But here's the thing. Arthur, if you know him well enough and you watched him while he was here, and of course Arthur was our defensive quality control guy when he first came here, and as an offensive coordinator, though, he's always had great success, really, really good success with 12 personnel. He's got Pat Freiermuth up there. Jonnu is a perfect second to Pat Freiermuth for a 12 personnel. And so I know that's what he was pushing for.
That's really interesting. Coach Mack with us, presented by Two Rivers Ford. Coach, we were talking about the other day, and it kind of surprised me how much traction it got, honestly, because it was kind of a flippant comment by me, which never happens. But I said, Babs, I'm good with Will Levis as the backup quarterback. And a lot of people started reacting about that. Like, he's got an elite arm in terms of deep balls and pace and things like that. But people were wondering, what kind of impact he might have in the locker room if he were the backup. But what's been your situation with guys that were a starter and then drafted around?
Yeah, well, to me, the whole Will Levis situation, I mean, is, first of all, I've never had one hint of him being a locker room problem.
Right.
Now, you ask about that, it depends on the personalities. But to me, I mean, he's got a chance to – I mean, his career is nowhere near done. Now, is his career as a guy that's going to carry a franchise? I mean, clearly that did not work for him last year, but he's still got a career in this league. I don't think that they have in mind right now to give up on Will Levis. And, if you just want to talk about physical ability, I mean, he is clearly the number 2 guy, in that quarterback room right now.
And that was my point.
Well, I think you've got a valid point, and I don't ask the coaches about stuff, but just watching him work again, he's done nothing but work, and that's never been his problem. It's the meltdowns during the competition that's been his problem. And so a guy like that, you don't just give up completely on to begin with. And if he performs well, we're going to have to let this play out, in my opinion. Let it play out for a while first.
Well, and it's interesting because, some guys hit at different times, right, in their careers. Like Sam Darnold had an incredible year last year. That was year 6 for him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, no, you're 100% right, and especially at the quarterback position. I mean, there's examples of it, but the thing that happens is when you have instances in ball games when it mattered, like he did, last season. That's hard for everybody else to forget about. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the issue. But as far as being able to put the work in and designating himself to the craft of trying to learn, I don't think that's a problem. But you got to solve that other one. And in the meantime, you went out and drafted a quarterback in the first round, the first pick in the first round, and he's going to be the dude.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree. Coach, have a great 4th of July weekend, brother, and we'll talk with you next week.
Guys, always a pleasure. See you guys. You guys have a good 4th.
See you, Coach.
Coach Mack, presented by Two Rivers Ford. When we come back, Todd Ferman, our guy in Vegas, where can we find value in the college football and NFL preseason win totals over under at this point? We'll ask Todd next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening, y'all? Time is of the essence until it's not. When you throw those keys to that 14, 15, 16-year-old, the one out there that's just got the permit to be able to go out there and drive a little bit, maybe just go to school. Accidents happen. They pop up. What are you going to do? You can't be there for everything. You can't be the protector, but you can have somebody there to fight for you, which is like protecting. Car accidents happen all the time. Bart Durham Injury Law is who you need to have on deck, ready to call. 615-242-9000. That's for your kids out there. That's for these teenagers out there, the young adults that are just still up under your insurance and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to make it happen? That's what Blair Dorman and his team, they've been fighting for folks in Tennessee for years, making sure insurance companies pay up. No upfront costs, no waiting around, just real people making sure you get what you deserve. Bart Durham Injury Law is real simple. Here 24/7, ready to fight for you. 615-242-9000, BDIL.
3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, Ross filling in for Chef Dog.
I really like this intro song for Todd Ferman. Beer for my horses, baby.
He said he was cool with it.
You cool with this, Todd?
I am more than cool with a little bit of Toby Keith. A little story that I think will segue into one of the questions that I'm sure you guys will want to ask. His manager, big-time sports bettor, and was a lifelong fan of the Bet the Board podcast before we put it to rest earlier on Monday.
Oh,
yeah. You told me something was going. You guys were contemplating some sort of move, and then these guys get in our chat and ask about Bet the Board podcast going away. So what's the story there, Todd?
Yeah, look, it was a labor of love for us going all the way back to 2014. Of course, right around the time that we started doing this, Brent, every Wednesday afternoon, podcast launched as kind of a 20 to 30-minute riff session between Payne and I talking a little NFL. The technology we use to record and distribute that podcast about as rudimentary as it gets. And it kind of morphed into something bigger and better than we ever anticipated. You know, one NFL show became two. We added a college show. We tried to cover a lot of the marquee sporting events when people had a demonstrated appetite for sports betting content. And back in 2014, 16, 17, there weren't a lot of people that had a knowledge base out there doing anything to the level that we were. So we negotiated some deals, a lot of them coming in the offshore world with BetOnline, who deserves a world of credit for giving us an opportunity to spread our wings. Gradually, that became more in the regulated space with the repeal of PASPO and the Flutter Group, Fox Bet, may it rest in peace, and now FanDuel as the primary allies that were sponsoring the show to try and help with customer acquisition. Turned that into a pretty lucrative deal with Amazon and Wondery as a distribution partner. And once we got towards the end of that particular relationship, the economics of what we were doing, the amount of hours that we were allocating to the show to provide content at a very high level just didn't become feasible. And so we kicked over every rock we possibly could over the last 6 to 9 months to try and figure out if it was going to be a sports book, if it was going to be a big box retailer, and a variety of other non-traditional avenues. Unfortunately, nothing came to market, and we didn't want to go into the first week of football season and do an injustice to the listeners that had relied so heavily on our college football conference previews with Brad Powers, our NFL divisions through August, and kind of make a clean break of it heading into the holiday weekend, which, you know, for us really launches the unofficial start of football season when we pivot away from everything else. So it sucks to see it go by the wayside, but the outpouring of support that came from 3HL listeners that have been with us since day one, I mean, Slay, you, Dawn, we know how everybody listened to the show, and it's always tough when you close a chapter and have to begin to explore other avenues just because the economics of the betting space have really changed over the last handful of years.
I mean,
what am I going to listen to on my way to games?
Yeah, and selfishly, like, that was a lot of show prep for us.
For content. I mean, look, for those who listen to the show, I didn't mean it necessarily as a dig by any stretch, but it's going to make show prep for not just you guys, but a lot of people around Dawn's Mouse Network, along with Fox out in LA, have to work a little bit harder to dig up some of those nuggets that more often than not seem to work their way seamlessly into game day and just mirrored what we were sharing early on Wednesday mornings. And I think it leaves a gaping hole, in my opinion, selfishly, and of course a little bit of ego baked in, for what the sports betting ecosystem has become, where it's all cheaper content. It's half naked 22-year-old co-eds that decide to flip on a camera and think that they're offering some sort of great betting content. And a lot of folks that want to try and market to turn $10 into $10,000 as some sort of lucrative pursuit. And that's largely on the operators. Those are the customers they're after. And it leaves guys like ourselves a little bit out in the cold. I won't say it's gone forever, but it's definitely getting sunset going into 2026. And if somebody comes out of the woodwork between now and next year, I'm sure we could lure Payne back into the studio to try and create version 2 of the Bet the Board podcast going forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
What's that guy going to do? Not being able to complain about things into a microphone.
I'm not sure. You know what? I mean, towards the end, maybe it'll make him a happier person, not having to deal with me at the crack of dawn multiple days a week, trying to haggle over what we thought was worthy of best bet content, and then dealing with folks that you never seem to, as you guys know, applaud you when things are going well, but they let you know about 2 minutes into a football game that a bet is dead and buried. And while we didn't finish on a high note last year with some of our best bets, there's not a podcast in the space that's been around for 11 plus years that won at right around a 55% clip. And it's something that we always will hold our heads above water, knowing that we put everything we possibly could into that show, breaking down all the marquee matchups in the pros and college and a lot of the other sports better than anybody else could do.
Well, and those aren't just your words; those are true words. I mean, the amount of information that came down on the Bet the Board podcast was just absolutely phenomenal, and it will be missed in the space. That is definitely true. And I was going to ask you, like, is there a rebrand opportunity down the road, perhaps, where someone could get involved on a very national level to get that thing going again?
Look, we don't rule anything out. I mean, a lot of people go, well, you guys clearly didn't do it for the love of the game. And I laugh, unfortunately, at those people that, you know what, you go into your job every day and somebody tells you you're not getting paid for the foreseeable future. And it's the single largest lift that we would do, despite some of the other media responsibilities I have. 50, 60, 70 hours a week in addition to some of the betting. And like we shared on that final episode, we probably tipped our hand a little bit more than we should, peeling back the curtain on some of our processes, watching the market kind of evolve and knowing that the impact that we had there. So I'm sure where there's a will, there's a way if the numbers make sense to get back involved. And, who knows, maybe version 2 is even bigger and better. Payne decides he only wants to do one show. We find some of the other young talent that's out there. And just because the door is closed, at least for now, I never say anything in this media business is permanent, as you guys know all too well yourselves.
True that.
Todd Ferman, Bet the Board podcast, going away, unfortunately. I love the way that y'all did it, too. Aside from the best bet, I mean, it's easy to go to the end of the podcast and pull that back. But I loved your breakdown of games because I'm a college football nerd, and I know a lot of people did too. But it also allowed for me to make my decision on which direction I was going based on the information that you guys gave on both sides of it.
And I think that's what we, really set out to do. And it kind of took on a life of its own. And that was the one thing, going through the social media comments that, of course, aren't the be-all, end-all. The amount of people that said they weren't bettors, but were able to have a different perspective on some of their favorite teams. And while we didn't necessarily cover some of the smaller college football programs, and I'm sure the Titans weren't mentioned nearly as much as diehard fans would like, given how they performed over the last handful of years, it was looking at sports through a very different lens, and gambling being the primary driver, but the analytics behind it. And we came out and said we didn't like player X or coach Y. There were numbers behind it. You can't hold a grudge in this business and expect to make money week in, week out. You have to be fluid with your expectations. You blend the macro with the micro, and that's kind of how things, ultimately unfold. And the one thing I'll say, and while this, analogy may sound kind of cheesy, it's what I've shared when we used to go on sales pitches and talk to a lot of folks. We viewed ourselves, probably more like Whole Foods in the grand scheme of things. We wanted to give people the best ingredients that we possibly could, that if you preferred to go into a grocery store and prepare your own meal and put your own spin on it, we were going to give you some of those tools to be able to do so. But if you were tight for time and you wanted an informed opinion, but you wanted to have something that was a little bit healthier than some of the alternatives that were out there, we were the grab and go that you could come in, get a pre-prepared meal, and still feel comfortable about what you were doing, putting into your body in that case, of course, or putting into your account, with an investment each and every week. And that was really what we wanted to do, and make sure that we taught people about our processes above all else. And while I'm not a super religious guy by any stretch, we wanted to teach people how to fish more so than put the fish on the plate for them.
Where can people find your content this football season?
Going forward, most likely at CBS. We're going through a little bit of a negotiation window of sorts, so fingers crossed on all of that will be a home base for a lot of NFL coverage, especially on the Monday, Thursday, and Sundays around those games. Working on a couple of other avenues. I don't think anything will rival the level of depth that we got to on Bet the Board, unfortunately. And the way things shape up now, this may be one of the single best vehicles, along with our friends down in Birmingham, to break down college football. Because most of the content that I'll provide, throughout the season will be NFL related. So even more reason that people driving around Nashville should be listening to 3HL every Wednesday afternoon.
I absolutely love it. Congrats to you and Payne Insider and Brad Powers. Incredible content for all these years, and certainly appreciate that. DHB on YouTube says, now is Slay's chance to take over the betting space with the Parslay podcast.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I mean, Don, I think you articulated that perfectly there. And, it's people like Slay, I know, that may be part of the reason that we can't get some of the deals that we were able to get years before. If Slay's going to show up on the TikTok getting himself ready to run his 4.40 half naked, it may be an untapped demo that Payne and I can't possibly look to rival.
There he is.
No comment.
Todd Ferman at Todd Ferman. All right. We were talking about topic I had earlier, is Kentucky football broken? Just with the weird situation of Vince Marrow leaving Kentucky and one of his best friends, Mark Stoops, not only leaving, but going to a rival. And then reportedly today, we find out $700,000 from On3.com plus $14,000 signing bonus to go to Louisville, which is about half of what he would have made at Kentucky this year. What do you think about Kentucky football moving forward, coming off that terrible finish last year?
I think people that appreciated Kentucky football trying to climb into that upper echelon or that mushy meadow of the SEC should make sure they cherish those days, because it sure feels like the way things are trending right now, Kentucky is going to trend back into that SEC afterthought that they were for most of our lives, kind of toiling in mediocrity with the occasional 6-win season. And we've kind of seen that on full display with the Wildcats, that at least they had a little bit of a culture that was rinse and repeat. You knew they were going to be physical on the offensive and defensive line. There was going to be some continuity and the occasional athlete and game breaker on the offensive and defensive side as well. But you look at the way this team has really struggled, even over the last couple of seasons, with and without Liam Cohen as their offensive coordinator. You look at Kentucky's win total sitting at 4.5, and, there's a very realistic chance they could lose their opener, albeit as a double-digit favorite against Toledo, and I think that could spell the beginning of the end. So in my opinion, Kentucky would be one of those stocks long-term in the SEC that I'd be looking to short now before the bottom truly fell out.
I'm trying to think of who else may be in trouble. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, certainly in trouble.
What's their win total?
It's the lowest in the SEC.
Yeah, Mississippi State. I mean, the thing about the Bulldogs and the way things go there, I don't think anybody has unrealistic expectations for what they're going to be able to accomplish in Starkville. So their win total sits at 3.5. Heavily shaded to the over at minus $1.50, and the aforementioned Wildcats. When you look at Kentucky, their win total 4.5 flat. But I think Kentucky fans, given what they've seen over the last couple of years, it's kind of that 6-win threshold that has become the bar that they need to reach, whereas Mississippi State fans need to be realistic about what it's going to take to kind of rebuild that football program and know that you don't just wave a magic wand and suddenly become relevant in the landscape of that conference. And as you go through what Mississippi State has in front of them, I mean, they're going to need to win the in-state game against Southern Miss. A game against Alcorn State has to be a win. And you would say that make a case for them to hold serve against Arizona State, maybe even NIU week 4. If they can start the season 3-0 or 4-0 or 3-1, then maybe they have an opportunity to go out there and pull off an upset or two. But getting the 6 wins for the Bulldogs is going to be a little bit of a fairy tale, in my opinion.
And then Arkansas, maybe the other one. With Pittman hiring his replacement, he got through last year. Does he get through this year?
It's a question that I think Arkansas fans are asking themselves right now. I mean, they'll start off with what should be 2 wins against Alabama A&M and Arkansas State, and that's where things start to get a little bit more squirrely with road dates against Ole Miss and Memphis, a home date against Notre Dame. It'll be a noon kickoff down there, or I should say 11 o'clock Central kickoff down there in Fayetteville. Well, they'll come in as a double-digit dog. And if Arkansas fans want to see a change at the helm, circle that week 4 date against Memphis. You go on the road and lose to a team in the AAC, go into your bye week sitting at 2-3, knowing your trip to Knoxville is on the horizon for week 7. It wouldn't shock me if Sam Pittman wasn't the guy on the sidelines when we were headed into November.
Texas, Alabama, and Georgia all at 9.5 wins in terms of the over-under win total. Which team do you find most value to get to that 10-win thing?
Texas for me, it's not a stock that I'm buying or selling. I know a lot of people will circle that week 1 game against Ohio State, but quite frankly, I don't think it's going to tell us a whole hell of a lot about either of those teams and what they're going to be at the end of the season, because unless one loses by 40 points, they're very much going to be in the thick of the playoff race. And that's kind of the coin flip game that I think can ultimately determine if Texas ends up exceeding odds makers' expectations. Alabama's been a little bit of a buy-on team, honestly. When you go through a lot of the markets, not just their win total, that actually opened a shade lower at 8.5, but also the 5-1 price tag to win the conference and even the national championship. I think the biggest question that Kalen DeBoer has to answer is who's going to be their starting quarterback. The people that I've talked to in Tuscaloosa seem to indicate that Ty Simpson, despite what they're telling me, is going to have a leg up, and they're going to bring Keelan Russell along slowly.
Yep.
Their schedule sets up favorably out of the gates. They'll be right around a 2-touchdown favorite, I'm sure, by the time the number closes against Florida State week 1. And again, the road trip to Georgia week 5 going to provide a tremendous litmus test for both of those teams. For Georgia, look, this is a team that I don't necessarily want to buy going into the year, but you go through the schedule and you try and find losses. I just don't see that many there. The players have said the right things. If you read some of their comments coming out of the spring, that the level of entitlement is a little bit gone. But trying to identify what that offensive line is going to look like, if Gunnar Stockton is the answer, if the defense is just rinse and repeat. They're a team, again, that I'm not willing to bet against, but I'm definitely not laying that substantial price to go over the total. And I think when you go through and try and figure out the most important game on Georgia's schedule, or one that's going to tell us a lot, you're not just the home date against Alabama, and while this may be tough for Tennessee fans to hear, it's a trip to Jordan-Hare against Don's alma mater week 7 to figure out if Auburn is going to be for real, and an Auburn team that we're going to know an awful lot about the first Friday night of college football season when they go on the road to Waco to take on a Baylor team that didn't look like they had the athletes to match LSU last year in their bowl game.
Real quick, Florida 7.5. A lot of people are in love with DJ Lagway moving forward.
And rightfully so. When you look at his transcendent skill set, I mean, he is a pleasure to watch when he's healthy, and that is going to be the single biggest question around DJ Lagway. There's some things I know about his recovery and rehab that may not necessarily be out there for public consumption. So I will keep Florida kind of at the forefront. And once some of those reports become a little bit more transparent when they break camp in the fall, I think we'll have a lot more, or I should say a better understanding of where the Gators realistically expect to be. But you do have to give Billy Napier a ton of credit. A lot of people already had him with one foot in the grave going into last season with that daunting schedule. Schedule doesn't look to be that much easier this year than what it was last year, but they finished with a flourish, and that win against Ole Miss spoke volumes about how everybody down there in Gainesville truly built in to what they were trying to build as a culture.
We will ask you about Tennessee and Vandy next week.
Spoiler alert, you guys will not get me next week or the week after, unfortunately.
Zeph did tell me that. Yep, Zeph told me that.
We'll have to put that on the back burner until the latter portion of July. The wife and I are going off the grid. We are not meeting up with Zeph and his family on their European sojourn. We are taking one of our own.
Oh, so you're going to Europe?
That we are. A little time in northern Italy, some time in Switzerland, and a quick 36-hour trip to London, one of Nicole's favorite cities. So she's going to play tour guide for the better part of Saturday and show me how the other half live.
That's so fun. You're going to have so much fun. Italy's our favorite.
Who wins Wimbledon, men and women?
I think we're on a crash course, or at least we can only hope for Carlos Alcaraz against Jannik Sinner.
Yeah.
And the surface, in my opinion, until Sinner proves otherwise, that Alcaraz gets the edge. And on the women's side, look, I know Americans aren't going to be happy with the way that Jessie Pegula and Coco Gauff performed in their opening round matches. I think the number's a little bit short on Aryna Sabalenka. People I respect making compelling case for Madison Keys. I'll take a shot a little bit further down, and while her form wasn't great, and I may be betting her before she's ready to come of age, take a look at Mira Andreeva. She kind of unraveled at Roland Garros, dealing with the crowd that was rooting against her, but I like the young Russian skill set, and while the U.S. Open may give her best chance to win a major this year, I think she's being a little bit discounted just because she hadn't come in playing some of her best tennis.
Chicago street course.
Hard to argue with SVG. Shane Van Gisbergen, the overwhelming favorite at a price tag right around 5-2. But discount Christopher Bell at your own peril around 7-1. I think the favorite's accurately priced the way they need to be. And it should be fun to watch. For those folks who don't know, NASCAR kind of unveiled their version of March Madness, a 5-race window. Single elimination head-to-head. I think, candidly, my colleagues at TNT didn't exactly do the best job highlighting some of those matchups, but it should be fun, and if folks really want to get involved in that, we made a case for Chase Elliott being some of the best value on the board. Didn't think he'd necessarily win Atlanta, but if you want a little bit of skin in the game over the next 4 weeks, I think Chase Elliott, if you can find him at 10-1 or even a shade less, probably worth a small dabble, knowing he'll perform real well at the road courses. Then they'll head to Dover, which is a concrete oval, and they'll wrap things up on the traditional Brickyard layout at Indianapolis Motor Speedway to close that out.
There he is. He's the Todd father with a little nugget about DJ Lagway thrown in there.
I
Love
know.
it. Thank you, Todd. Good stuff. Congrats on the success of Bet the Board, and hope to see something like that down the road.
Always a pleasure. You guys have always been the biggest supporters for the Bet the Board podcast. You've tolerated pain through thick and thin, and it means the world to both of us. The way that you guys have shared some of the gospel, and like we said, it kills us to kind of leave a void in the sports betting space that we don't think anyone will fill. And it goes without saying, shout out to the listeners that have tuned in, not just for this segment all these years. We'll be back for another season to do it. But of course, going out of their way to listen to the Bet the Board podcast and all the SEC breakdowns that we've provided over the last decade plus.
At Todd Ferman on X. Thank you, Todd.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks,
Have a great
Ferman.
trip.
Have fun in Europe.
Yep.
Thank you.
Later. When we come back, Greg Cosell going to break down that big trade between Pittsburgh and Miami, and we'll do it quickly next 3HL.
Holistic stem cell therapy. It comes to your door with Kellum Stem Cell Institute. They bringing it to you, man. They brought it to me, and I'm so excited about it. And why wouldn't I be? And I get rid of all the inflammation in my body. It's real simple. Many patients have experienced remarkable results, just like mine. They got their own testimonies. Well, here's mine. I was riding in the cars, man, after being playing all of these years, and inflammation just tearing my knee up, man. I mean, it's like a burning sensation. I had to get out and stretch on long rides, but not no more. Nope. Your body, your cells, your solution handled all of that. Yes, and you got to believe that the stem cells are stored for future and continued use. So say you have an accident. You need to go get a little pep up, little hit of the secret potion. Well, it's your potion, so you can go hit it anytime. All you got to do is go reach out to Dr. Kellum, get you a consultation, 615-850-4415, 615-850-4415, KellumStemCellInstitute.com.
3HL 1045, this home. Britt Doherty, Don Davenport with you. We are off tomorrow and Friday. And Greg Cosell, kind enough to come on for a few minutes today. Greg, how are you?
Brent, what's happening?
You got big plans for the holiday weekend, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, reasonably big. Saturday, July 5th is my older daughter's birthday. So, yeah, I mean, there'll be some fun stuff.
Oh, cool. We'll have a great weekend on the front end of everything. Big trade this weekend. Wanted to ask you about the players involved. So Minkah Fitzpatrick goes to Miami, goes back to Miami as a safety. Played in all 17 games last year. What did you see on film from him?
Yeah, I didn't study him, just as an individual every game.
Yeah.
I did read someone who I respect say that they didn't think that he had his best season, but I think Fitzpatrick at his best is one of the two best safeties in the league. He's what we call a five-tool safety. He can do everything, and he's incredibly intelligent. So, he started his career in Miami, and they were playing him a lot in the slot back then. That won't happen now. He'll be a safety, and who knows how he'll feel about the trade. Maybe he'll feel he has to reprove himself again. But like I said, at his best, he's a great, great player. The thing that struck me that was more interesting as part of that trade was what Pittsburgh did, because Jalen Ramsey, I've known coaches who've where he's been on teams, and I've known coaches, and Ramsey's incredibly intelligent. He's a great player, but the Steelers, they signed Darius Slay, and they've got a young up and coming really good corner in Joey Porter Jr. So it made me think, how is that going to work out? Are they going to end up being one of those teams that ends up playing, nickel almost as their base defense? Because Ramsey has obviously played a ton in the slot in his career. That's what he did with the Rams when he was there. Because, I don't think he's going to play a lot of outside corner. I mean, obviously we don't know this in early July. The trade just happened, and obviously the coaches are talking about all this, and training camp hasn't even started. But I'm just curious as to how that's all going to work out.
I have the same question about what the Titans might do defensively, because they didn't address the other inside linebacker position next to Cody Barton. So I wonder and he can play all three down. So I wonder how many snaps defensively it'll be Cody Barton and a bunch of defensive backs,
Yeah, I mean, I guess that also depends on what the other team puts on the field.
Right.
Playing a lot of two tight ends, you'd like to get a bigger body. I mean, in an ideal world, just from being down there for a mandatory mini camp, and I'll be down again for training camp. I think they would love Cedric Gray to win the job and be the guy, but that's not a given. We don't know the answer to that question. So we'll see how it plays out. But, there are teams in the league that do play nickel pretty much all the time. The Buffalo Bills, obviously one of the best teams in the league. They've had seasons where they played nickel close to 100% of the snaps, because they have a great slot corner in Teron Johnson, who's super competitive, super physical, and can tackle. If you're going to play nickel as pretty much your foundation defense, your slot corner almost has to, he has to be in a position to be a really good run defender, because there are going to be defensive fronts in your nickel. And not to get into the weeds, but just to make a point that I think people will understand, your slot corner at times has to be responsible for the B gap in the run game, and the B gap is an inside gap in the run game. So your slot corner has to be a physical, competitive tackler.
Is that what they have in Roger McCreary?
I think he's a really competitive player, but I don't think he's exactly that guy.
Okay.
I'm not sure they'd feel comfortable with that.
What about Xavier Woods moving down from safety and kind of filling in that slot?
Xavier Woods is a pretty good football player, and I think he's pretty complete.
Guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I thought that was a good signing. He's a veteran in the league. He's played on the back end. He's played down in the box. He's a good football player. We'll see how all this plays out. I'm sure after the mandatory mini camp, coaches, they might take a vacation and go away, but once they're back, in their home area, they're just talking ball, and that's what they're doing now, the guys that are back. So they'll figure all this out through camp and see how it goes with whether it's Cedric Gray, whether it's James Williams. They'll figure out if they really feel comfortable with, another starting linebacker in their nickel. So, If not, they may be looking at a trade. They may be looking at, you see who gets cut. There's more to be done. The roster as we sit here on July 2nd is not complete.
No question. Greg Cosell, NFL Films, joins us.
Cosell, going back to that trade, I just wanted to hit you on Jonnu Smith. Obviously, Titans fans extremely familiar with him.
Sure.
I found in my phone baby Babs Hadley as a baby sitting in a chair watching a Titans game. It was a video, and it was a corner touchdown from Jonnu Smith. I'm like, miss that guy. And coming off his best season yet, back with Arthur Smith, what have you seen from him?
That's another part of this trade, Dawn, that's fascinating to me because they've got a lot of tight ends in Pittsburgh. Pat Fryermuth is really good. Darnell Washington, you guys are familiar with him from Georgia in the SEC. He was a third-round pick just in 2023. And he's a big dude with a lot of athleticism. He's a really good blocker. Even Connor Hayward, the third tight end a year ago, got a lot of snaps. So, obviously Jonnu Smith is more receiver than inline blocker. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Look, Jonnu Smith has the kind of ability where you could essentially play two tight ends, but he could be a slot receiver. So, I'm sure they're figuring that, look, if you're going to make the trade, the trade didn't just happen and they snapped their fingers and all of a sudden the trade happened. I'm sure it had been discussed and they had talked in the building with the Steelers as to, hey, if we get Jonnu Smith, how will we deploy him? But he can essentially be used as a third wide receiver if you choose to do so and still give you something in the run game.
I think you're headed right down that path. And we asked Coach Mack about it today, and he said he thinks that's an Art Smith thing because Art Smith really likes Jonnu Smith, that Art Smith loves to run 12 personnel, and that's where you utilize a guy like that.
Yeah, because Jonnu Smith can be a really good receiver as well in that 12 personnel package. So, then you – see, what you're trying to do is try to make the defense predictable. You'll see how the defense responds, number one, with personnel, and number two, how they line up, and you'll get a pretty good feel for what you can do.
There he is. He's Greg Cosell. Normally on Thursdays, but nice enough to hop on Wednesday since we're off tomorrow. And we hope you have a great weekend, and happy birthday to your daughter.
I appreciate it, guys. Look forward to being back with you next week. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Cosell.
At Greg Cosell on Twitter. If you love football, he's a must follow.
You love him.
And if you're listening to us, you love football. So there, those two things equate. They're congruent.
Yes.
As I said earlier about these two knuckleheads. Both from Plano, Texas, we found out this week. Ross.
Born in Plano.
Flossie Rossi, is that what you called him?
That's what I called him yesterday.
Because
I'm not sure he appreciated it.
Hurricane Flossie in the Pacific. Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to the Roots.
All right, we've got some audio for you in the 5 o'clock hour. Feinbaum doubling down on his Arch take. Shams on Knicks hiring Mike Brown. Jordan Matthews from yesterday, our visit with him, talking about his Vandy offer. It's a fascinating story. And also on Vandy upsetting Alabama. All that coming up. Stay tuned. If you want in, 615-737-1045. Upton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. That's where you need to go this holiday weekend and get that new vehicle you've been wanting for, maybe you've been pining for. Pre-owned vehicle. They have a tremendous selection of pre-owned vehicles. You can check out the inventory online. GuptonMotors.com is the website. You can see the pre-owned selections they have for you there. Also, the new inventory they have online, GuptonMotors.com. All of the dealership information is there, address, phone number, inventory, as I mentioned. All the deals they have going on in the month of July. And they're going to have a big weekend up there, and you should check them out. If you've been thinking about that next new vehicle to you, definitely include Gupton in the process. If you've already begun that process, definitely include Gupton in that process. So tell them what you're looking for, whether it's more room, whether it's something a little less expensive, whatever you're looking for. Let the guys at Gupton know, and they will point you in the right direction. Take your test drive, go inside. They will help make the numbers work, and it will be that easy. 3450 Tom Austin Highway in beautiful Springfield, Tennessee. That's Upton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Good afternoon. It is 5:02 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. In the NBA, Shams Charania is reporting that the New York Knicks are hiring two-time NBA Coach of the Year Mike Brown to be their next head man. Brown was previously the coach of the Sacramento Kings from 2022 to 2024 and has made stops at other franchises like the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors, and Los Angeles Lakers. In other breaking news today, the Lakers are signing center DeAndre Ayton to a 2-year, $34 million deal. Also, the Detroit Pistons are signing guard Duncan Robinson from the Miami Heat to a 3-year deal worth $48 million, and the Charlotte Hornets are signing guard Trey Mann to a 3-year, $24 million extension. In the NFL, former Defensive Player of the Year T.J. Watt has still not reached a deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that the trade talks are heating up. Also, the Seattle Seahawks are signing former Vikings cornerback Shaquille Griffin, who spent his first 4 NFL seasons with Seattle. Lastly, in soccer news, Nashville SC has been on fire and will be searching for another win this Saturday as they host Philadelphia. Game time is set for 7:30 p.m. Central, and you can listen to it right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. 5 o'clock hours here, people. We hope you're having a great Wednesday. It is, what is it today?
It's hump day. Do it, Mayor.
Hump day.
Okay, Ross. Okay.
Hump day. It's all of those things. Happy Wednesday. Y'all, thanks for being with us. We've got another 55 minutes or so. Actually, a little bit less than that. But anyway, it is a beautiful day in the Music City. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Dawn Davenport is here, and she's patriotic, y'all.
Yes, I am.
If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch, you will see Babsy in her red, white, and blue. She's ensconced in red, white, and blue.
Got some red bling shoes on to go with it, which I showed earlier in the show.
You had to do it twice because the first time you missed.
Apparently the first time it was just my leg. I apologize.
Calf and thigh. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Ain't nobody want to see all that.
Minus the calf. But anyway, chickens don't have calves, do they?
No. No, because chicken legs. Remember I always rag on Slay and tell him he has chicken legs?
Well, you've gone at him today and he's not even here.
I know. I love him.
I know you do. From Netbrooks. Not Brooks _12.
Okay. Third time's a charm
We're
here.
going to get there.
Third time's a charm.
We're going to get there. Ryan Clark did a little piece with Nick Saban, former Alabama coach, and asked him who his favorite player that he coached at Alabama was. And so he actually listed 5 players.
I love this.
You correctly identified one of the players at the beginning of the show, and that would be?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Those two love each other.
The king.
Yep.
The king and the duck.
I knew that one. Because I remember before working an Alabama game, I went and talked to the king in the locker room just about Saban and the culture and all of that, and listening to Derrick talk about, it does not surprise me that he is on his list.
Was that the Alabama Citadel game? Or was
it was, as a matter of fact, when they were tied at halftime.
Yeah. So all week, Nick Saban was like, I'm telling you, Citadel runs an offense we haven't seen. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a challenge, blah, blah, blah. And I gave him crap all week about that.
Yeah, you did.
I'm so tired of this,
pandering?
Yeah, no, I was going to, oh, damn it. Lou Holtz stuff. Lou Holtz used to always do that. Okay. No matter who they were playing. They were going to win the national title, Mississippi Valley State or whoever. And so he was saying that going into the Citadel week. And I was like, they're a 50-point favorite. Like, stop, Nick. Okay, right. Stop. 10-10 at halftime.
Yeah.
And you have to interview him at halftime. And basically, he was like, I told y'all.
Uh-huh. And mind you, that halftime interview, this was a long time ago. What was it, 2018, 18 or something. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, but it was literally right after the Maria Taylor stuff with Nick Saban where he went off on her in a halftime interview.
Yes.
I was going to say.
And then ended up having to like call her and apologize. And it was a whole big thing.
Yeah.
So it was right after that. And I was like, oh boy.
I was just about to say, was it the Maria Taylor interview before the Maria Taylor?
It was right after the Maria Taylor interview, which was probably a good thing because he wasn't going to do it again. So I was safe there. And then Citadel actually had the ball coming out.
Yeah, and drove
to start the second half and drove.
And missed a field goal that would have given them a third quarter lead against Alabama.
Yes. So
might have blown a gasket.
Oh my gosh.
I remember texting you during that game.
That was interesting. But anyway, it was before that game because we were just talking about I was talking with Derek about like the success Alabama players have in the, because honestly, I mean, and Saban would get me for this, but we expected it to be a blowout game. So I would have plenty of time to tell stories and talk a little bit in the second half, right? Props to Citadel for making it a game.
You can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Tom says he is a fascinating listen, talking about Cosell, Dewey, Cheatham, and how Cosell is gold. Captain Tony J says Twitch, please. Mr. Right. Keefe says Dawn crazy AF. That's why I like her.
There are moments. There are moments.
Tom, Titans practicing shells in 3 short weeks. We are using some fun words today. Yes, we are.
Deprecating?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't say that one. Did somebody else say that?
He was saying, was that the word you were looking for?
No, I was looking for Lou Holtz.
Oh, okay.
I want to know where Lou Holtz is right now. Shout out.
He does a podcast or something.
Yeah, he does something.
And he gives 0 Fs. Like, now he'll talk bad about teams and stuff. It's like, it's weird.
He really doesn't care now. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't cared for a long time.
No. So you properly identified Derrick Henry. One of the 5 that he mentioned when asked who his favorite Alabama player to coach was. Julio Jones was the first name he threw out. Okay. He didn't give an order, but he just kind of threw out 5 names.
5 names. Okay.
So
Julio
he said
Jones,
Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay. That was interesting.
Rolando McClain.
Wow.
Linebacker.
Never would have picked that one.
And Reuben Foster, who we've talked oddly a lot about because lately. Mike Borgonzi came on the show and talked about their draft process of Patrick Mahomes when he was at Kansas City.
Yeah.
And he said they couldn't get to 1 to pick Patrick, so they got in front of New Orleans, who they thought would take a quarterback and would take him. And started floating everybody that they were drafting Reuben Foster.
Which, did people actually believe that?
I don't know.
And maybe they did at the time.
I thought it was great that he told us that story. That's so funny. Because you always wonder about that. Like, because you start hearing weird names, like, go up into the middle of the first round.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why. Because these guys are, telling stories, or agents are telling stories, or whatever it is. But
Reuben Foster was one of the scariest players, I think, in the modern era of college football. He had that cowboy collar.
Yes,
and would
he did.
run down
he
on kickoff and just blast people.
Freaking good. He was such a great player. New York Knicks hiring 2-time NBA Coach of the Year Mike Brown. This guy's been in NBA coaching world, either as an assistant or a head coach, for almost 30 years. 1997. He is a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year. These retrade guys in the NBA crack me up. But NBA Coach of the Year, 2009 with Cleveland, 2023 with Sacramento. So 14 years in between those deals. Do you have Shams talking about this, Ross? Let's do it.
I'm told 2-time NBA head coach of the year Mike Brown is expected to be named the next New York Knicks head coach. And this comes after Mike Brown had his second formal interview with the Knicks this week, and this time with owner James Dolan on Tuesday. And the job now will be his. Knicks president Leon Rose began this head coaching search about a month ago when they fired Tom Thibodeau. They requested permission and were denied by 5 current head coaches, and then they started their process of interviewing several available coaches. They went through multi-round stages, and now Mike Brown, he's a 4-time champion as an assistant coach. I mean, he's coached a vast array of superstar talent across 3 decades as an NBA assistant and head coach. LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, De'Aaron Fox, and Domantas Sabonis most recently. And in 2022-23, he had the top-rated offense in the NBA. The Knicks are obviously hoping for that same type of adaptability and offensive creativity this upcoming season around Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay.
There you go. There's our NBA news for the day for you. All right, when we come back, Paul Feinbaum yesterday said that
offensive creativity is what got me on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Paul Feinbaum went on Get Up yesterday and said that Arch Manning would be the best college football quarterback to come along since Tim Tebow. And then he took a lot of heat for that. And I don't have a problem with him saying he's going to be great or whatever. I have a problem with the Tim Tebow part because there have been quarterbacks with huge years since then. That should be in the equation. But Feinbaum doubled down today. You'll hear about that. Also, Jordan Matthews, former Vanderbilt player, he's got a celebrity softball game coming up on July 11th, next Friday, and over at Vanderbilt. He tells an incredible story. This is a guy that has played in the NFL for the last 11 years. Mm-hmm. He had no offers when he finished playing high school football.
11 years.
He's sitting at home on Christmas Eve and gets his only offer, and it's Robbie Caldwell calling from Vanderbilt. And Robbie Caldwell was the head coach for all of 1 year. And it's an incredible story. We'll play that for you. Also, Jordan Matthews on how he consumed the Vandy upset of number 1 Alabama. Another really good story. All that coming up. Stay tuned. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
Tired of waiting rooms? Imagine healthcare that truly revolves around you. Introducing Medical House Calls, your premier concierge medical service for Middle Tennessee. We bring the medical provider right to your door. It's no rushing, just personalized care delivered where you're most comfortable. From urgent care needs to IV therapy, we provide comprehensive, unhurried visits tailored to your schedule. Medical House Calls, healthcare designed for your life. Learn more and schedule your visit at medicalhousecalls.com. That's medicalhousecalls.com.
3HL 1045 The Zone. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport with you. At 3HL 1045 on X. 3HL on Instagram. I don't know what we are on TikTok.
We're on it.
I'm on it, but I don't do anything with it.
I think it's just 3HL.
I think it is just 3HL.
Yeah, Zeph monitors all of those situations.
Too. I did a couple of things, and then I
did you?
Lost interest.
One of the biggest things that 3HL did on TikTok, I heard, was it when we measured you?
Yeah.
To see how tall you are?
Yeah. I didn't like how that ended up.
She's listed as 5'7" in the Auburn volleyball media guide from, back in the day.
That was probably a push. Yeah. It was probably a push.
Well, the doctor recently told you differently. So.
Well, yeah. Apparently I've really shrunk. I would say maybe I was at 5'6" when I got to college.
You got to figure out at the doctor how to do the height thing with your shoes on. Like say, I got plantar fasciitis. I can't take my shoes off.
They don't care. They take them off. Why do we have to take them off anyway? Don't at least Slay's not here for this. He's like, do I play basketball without my shoes on? Why would I take them off? Okay.
I mean, it's a valid point. Valid point. 615-737-1045. Yesterday, Paul Feinbaum doubled down, or today doubled down. Yesterday, he said that Arch Manning would be the best college football quarterback since Tim Tebow. Well, we started talking about Cam Newton had a year. Joe Burrow had a year. Lots of guys had a year. And I'm not taking anything away from Tim Tebow. That guy was incredible. And I think that Arch Manning is going to be phenomenal. I really do. Babs is wait and see mode.
I'm wait and see. I mean,
You want to see more.
I don't think he's going to be bad.
Right.
By any means, but I'm still wait and see. By the way, I'm giving away UFC Fight Night tickets. I'll do it at the end of this segment.
Stay tuned for that. That's coming up at Bridgestone Arena on July 12th.
Yes. 2 tickets is what I'm giving away. Lewis, who we had on our show. Derek Lewis?
Derek Lewis. They call him the Black Beast.
He's funny, man.
Slay asked him, he said, why'd you decide to go into UFC? And he said, well, I was fighting on the streets for free, so I figured I'd get paid for it.
He also spent time in prison, and he was like, I didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both valid points. That was one of the most fun, I think, best conversations that's ever taken place on 3HL. Derek Lewis. That dude was incredible.
He said, does the producer have that dump button ready or whatever?
He said that right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Well, because if you listen to any of his stuff online, it is not safe for work. At all.
T-Man 615. What a great interview that was. Now everyone knows who Pinky is.
It's so true.
I forgot about
Yeah, because do you remember Slay was like, whoa. Which Pinky are we talking about?
I said, who's
early or late?
I said, who's the coolest person, the coolest moment you've met in a person because you're famous now? And he thought for a minute and said, don't look it up on your work computer, y'all.
Yeah.
He said Pinky. And Slay said early Pinky or late Pinky. Oh, man, it's only funny if you know. If you know, you know. But again, if you're at work.
Look it up so you know.
Yeah, but not
Just
at work.
not at work.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That was funny. Okay.
TSU Nisi, Michelle says, Dawn, it's the earrings for me.
Oh, yeah.
The earrings are cool. I just always worry about her with earrings with the headphones, yanking them out or something.
Well, but here's the deal. As long as you have the loop ones, not studs, they don't hurt.
Stop pulling on them.
What? Your ears are fine. They're used to it.
It makes me, you have no nerve endings in there. Oh, my God. This lady.
By the way, I'm pretty sure that these USA earrings came from China because they were $2. But they're cute, right?
We were at a radio station. It was 1510, which is a political talk radio station.
Oh.
And I remember this a long time ago, but they got, maybe it was the income tax thing, but so Phil Valentine was over there and everything. Steve Gill. What up, Steve? And we got a big box of American flags. And I'm the one that looked at it, and it said made in Taiwan. And I was like, y'all can't give these out, man.
It wasn't a sticker you could remove?
Oh, that's funny. So is Feinbaum. I haven't heard this yet, but apparently he doubled down today on his Arch Manning take.
He's all in.
But the point is, I rest my case. I'm not backing down. I feel like the battered New York Democratic candidate for mayor, who everybody gets attacked. I don't want anything to do with him, by the way. I'm just making a point that I feel like I have been unfairly attacked, not only by you three, but by the entire country.
Well, Paul, let's just.
What show was he on? Do we know?
It might have been Get Up Again.
Get Up Again.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul's going to make those little statements, and he's never going to back down. He's going to stay on it.
Oh, no, he'll own it.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Isn't he? I mean, there's been rumors that he's retiring probably for the last 2 years.
Oh, no, I hope not.
What would he do?
He would.
Feinbaum can't retire.
No, I don't know. Would he take home phone calls from all his people in Alabama that called Jocks FM?
I mean,
just keep himself busy throughout the day.
Yeah.
Just give out his number. Hey, Paul, it's Kristen in Dothan.
That bit with him, Tebow, Marcus Spears, and Marty Smith about the haircuts is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Feinbaum. So stay tuned. Babs is going to give away tickets to go see Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis. Who's he fighting?
I don't know. Qatar?
Teixeira? How do you say it?
It is Teixeira.
Okay.
Teixeira.
Yeah, because we asked him how to say it, and that's what he said. That's what he said.
Taliesin Teixeira. Taliesin?
There are a bunch of fights, though. You've been before.
I don't know, but that's an amazing name. TT. I have been, and I had blood and sweat splattered on me.
Sounds like
crazy.
Was this like a date, or were you already married?
Oh, it was a date. It was right after baby Babs was born, too. It was our first time out.
Romantic night out at the UFC.
Welcome to fight night, baby.
You got to shower immediately when you get home.
Yeah.
Get all the DNA off you.
It was fun, though.
615-737.
in person.
1045. Ross, let's do this. Let's listen into Jordan Matthews, and let's start with the Vandy upset of Alabama, if you don't mind.
Because every Vandy fan would love to just relive this over.
Right, and I just ask him I think everyone can relate. Even if you're not a Vandy fan, the biggest win you ever saw as the fan of your team, I think you can relate to that. But for Vanderbilt to beat, they had never beaten a number one team in the country, ever.
Mm-mm.
And what was amazing about that was they just, they would throw a punch, they would get punched back, but they would throw another punch, get punched back, throw another punch. They never doubted themselves. They never went away. And at some point when you're a team ranked number one and you're playing a team like Vanderbilt, let's be real, you think they're going to break at some point, and they did not. And that's a testament to those players and that coaching staff and Clark Lee and just curious. We were curious to know how Jordan Matthews, former Vandy receiver, one of the best to ever play there, consumed that game.
I was in the hotel in Chicago.
Okay.
We were playing the Bears the next day, and I just remember sitting there just thinking this may be, I think when people think about greatest upsets in college football, I think people automatically go to Michigan, App State. Mm-hmm. It was opening weekend. Michigan's number 5. It's in the big house. Appalachian State had a little bit of good press. And then the blocked kick at the end, I think it's etched in people's memory. It's kind of like Vince Young scoring versus USC, Boise State. Mm-hmm. It's those plays, right? But I just think that when you look at if Alabama has a number one beside their name in any game that you could be a nominal NCAA football fan, that is the picture of excellence. Alabama, number one in the country. That's it. So for Vanderbilt to go pull that off, I was speaking on my Twitter. I was like, this is probably to me the greatest upset and the greatest coaching job by Clark that's ever been done in high-level college football, in Division I. Because you couldn't tell, if you took that game to anybody and said, does Vanderbilt beat number 1 Alabama? Nobody, except for the guys in that locker room, says that. Nobody. I guarantee if I went to some people when Appalachian State was starting to kind of like build some momentum, could Appalachian State pull this off? Could North Dakota State pull this upset off? There's some people, I think they could. Nobody thinks that Vanderbilt could ever beat a number 1 ranked Alabama team, and they did it. So it took me a while to process.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that they just went right back to work, got another win, I think versus Kentucky, and then they beat Auburn later that year. Almost beat Texas.
Yep.
It showed that they're for real and that they're here.
During that conversation, I started thinking about, number one, that was awesome. I started thinking about biggest upsets in college football history from a point spread perspective. And the game, he accurately put out there the Michigan loss to Appalachian State in the Big House. Certainly one. I remembered in the moment we were talking, and we just didn't get there, but Stanford, when Jim Harbaugh was there, went down to USC, and they were a huge underdog and beat USC. I just pulled up the top 10 upsets in college football history.
Yes.
In terms of point spread. Number 10, let me go 10 from 10 to 1.
Go 10 to 1. And let's get through it because we have issues doing that sometimes.
Yes. Louisiana Monroe beat Liberty. Louisiana Monroe was a 32.5 point underdog, and they were able to win 31-28. Number 9, Appalachian State over Michigan. So that was actually number 9.
I would definitely have put that higher.
Michigan was a 33-point favorite in that game. A play that will always haunt Michigan fans. Jason Gingle's 37-yard kick to win it was blocked, and the rest was history. Appalachian State ran it back for a touchdown and won 34-32. James Madison, 33.5-point underdog to Virginia Tech. They won 21-16.
I remember that one.
With the win, James Madison joined Appalachian State as the only FCS teams at the time to have beaten a ranked FBS team. So that's interesting. Liberty beat Baylor. Baylor was a 34-point favorite in 2017. Liberty won 48-45. 34-point underdogs.
Is that Hugh?
I don't know if it was Hugh. That's what I was trying to scan through the little paragraph. They don't mention it. They said Stephen Calvert, their quarterback, threw for 447 yards.
Cool.
Central Michigan over Western Michigan. Central Michigan was a 34.5-point underdog. That was in the year 2000, 21-17. Number 5, biggest upset in college football history, point spread-wise, Texas State, who's joined the Pac-12.
Weird.
35-point underdogs to the Houston Cougars in 2012. 30-13. So they were a 35-point underdog and won by 17 points. Temple.
By the way, that was not Hugh. He was 2018 is when he took over at Liberty.
There you go.
Okay.
Number 4, Virginia Tech, twice on this list. Top 10 biggest college football upsets by point spread. Virginia Tech, again on the list. They lost to Temple in 1998, 28-24. The Owls scored 28 of the game's final 35 points to knock off 14th-ranked Virginia Tech. Number 3, Syracuse in 2007, a 37-point underdog to Louisville. They won 38-35. The Orange had a 38-21 lead in the fourth quarter before holding on to win by 3. Number 2, Stanford over USC, the game I was talking about. Stanford was a 40.5-point underdog. I'll read this one.
It was that big?
40.5. These two programs were miles apart in terms of success entering the game. After going 1-11 in 2006, Stanford was in its first season under Jim Harbaugh, while number 2 USC was seeking a third national title in 5 years. The Cardinal hung around thanks to 5 USC turnovers and eventually made the Trojans pay. Tavita Pritchard's 10-yard touchdown pass to Mark Bradford with less than a minute left gave Stanford the improbable 1-point win. They won 24-23 in 2007. Jim Harbaugh's first year at Stanford, they were 40.5-point underdog. And the biggest upset ever, with regard to point spread, Howard Bison was a 45.5-point underdog to UNLV. They won 43-40.
I still take the App State, Michigan.
Which is number 9 on this one.
I know.
But that's FCS
and it's also
against top 10
only
BCS.
with point spreads. It only goes by point spreads.
So this one's interesting because Howard's quarterback was Kalen Newton, brother of Heisman Trophy and NFL MVP winner Cam Newton. He ran for 190 yards and 2 scores, including the final touchdown of the game that gave Howard the 3-point win, 43-40. So there you go. This story is incredible. Jordan Matthews. Again, you can hear this entire conversation where you get your podcast, and I would encourage you to do so, even if you're not a Vanderbilt fan. This incredible guy with an incredible story, and this is part of it. He finished his high school career without any offer from any college football team.
No D2, no D3.
No HBCU, no nothing. And he got a call on Christmas Eve. Well, we'll let him tell the story.
But as far as recruiting, I had no other offers. I tell people all the time, Vanderbilt didn't recruit me. I recruited Vanderbilt. I was calling them constantly. I want to be there. I'm telling you, if you guys bring me in, I work harder than anybody that y'all have ever had at that program. And then Bradley Roby, who played a long NFL career, was committed to Vanderbilt, decommitted, went to Ohio State. I got offered Christmas Eve as a Christmas Eve as a high school senior.
Signing day is early February.
I finished high school football. I had the last kick return as a high schooler. Like, I got tackled. We were in the semifinals.
I got goosebumps with this story.
Dude, I'm telling you, we were in the semifinals.
This is incredible.
I got tackled, and we're playing Leeds, Charles Barkley's alma mater. We went 12-0 up to that point, lost in the quarterfinals, and I remember laying down there on the football field and was like, this is my last football game. I had no offers, and it wasn't until Bradley Roby decommitted, Vanderbilt calls me on Christmas Eve, and his coach Caldwell, he's basically like, hey, we got one offer left. We wanted to bring in 4. Bradley decommitted. Do you want it? I'm like, do
Merry Christmas. You know what I mean?
That's the best Christmas present ever.
Sensation.
Do I want it? How about that? I mean, talking about laying on the field as his high school team loses, and he thought that was the last he would ever play football.
And then he didn't play a ton as a freshman at Vanderbilt.
No, but still lit up Tennessee that year. 5 for 62 or something.
And then he said, it was his sophomore year at Florida where he was like,
I can do this.
I think I can
play pro football.
I can play pro football. Yep. Because he had a great game, and Florida had all those DBs.
Yep.
That were talked about big time.
Yep.
And then what did he say? He reached out to Earl Bennett and said, I think that I can make this happen, but I need a mentor.
And Earl Bennett said, I got you.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's pretty cool.
I love stories like that, man. That's what makes sports great. Mr. Keefe on YouTube. Bab's about to give away tickets to the UFC Fight Night at Bridgestone Arena on July 12th, featuring our guy, Derek Lewis. Yeah.
Which, by the way, Mr. Keefe said that fight is sold out.
He said, damn, that fight is sold out. What's the number to the station? She's about to give it to you. Let's go, Babs.
615-737-1045. Caller number 5 right now. You win 2 tickets to see UFC Fight Night. Lewis, Teixeira, Bridgestone Arena. It's Saturday, July 12th. UFC returns to Nashville with this clash of heavyweight knockout artist, former world title challenger and current number 9 ranked contender Derek Lewis against number 14 Taliesin Teixeira. Also, fan favorite, number 15th ranked featherweight contender Calvin Kattar takes on Steve Garcia. So there you go. A whole lot going on. Saturday, July 12th, Bridgestone Arena. It's on ESPN and starts at 7. So good luck to you. I hope you win.
3HL 104.5, The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport with you. Independence Day weekend coming up. Y'all be safe, man.
Be careful with fireworks.
Here we go. Here we go. Her annual message.
It's my annual PSA. They are dangerous. Do not blow off hands, eyes, faces, extremities.
In all seriousness, that is a serious thing.
I know,
for
it's
real.
scary. And God bless all of our ERs and our ER doctors that are on call for 4th of July because they are always super busy. I have a friend from Auburn who a firework malfunctioned her husband and he lost his vision and it's been really tough for him. It's just scary stuff. Gotta be careful.
I remember you giving that speech to Slay when he first started with us.
Mm-hmm. And then what did he do?
He was like, "Oh, Babs, we have a good time. We know what we're doing, blah, 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 all this stuff." And
we're
it was him and Ramon. And they like to launch at Ramon's place, reportedly, allegedly.
I think they had to quit doing it. I think they got in trouble from the neighbors.
They might have. But that year, Slade did get hit in the knee.
Mm-hmm. And sent us the video of it. It was bad.
Yeah. Well, he was okay.
I mean, he was fine, but it was could have been bad. Maybe that's why he had to get a full knee replacement.
Look at you.
I mean, it was about, 5 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
How long has he been on 3HL?
I don't know. I've been on 8.
I know, it's going on 8.
How crazy is that? This might be
You will have been on 3HL longer than anyone, I think. But you will have been on 3HL. Well, yeah. You will have been on 3HL for more than half of its existence. So we started January 2010.
Wow.
So this is year 16. And you're 8, so yeah, half. Look at that.
Nuts. This is the longest I've been in a single position besides ESPN.
And it's funny because
coming up on 11 or 12 for ESPN, which is
I am
crazy.
not the one that hired you, but I definitely made it known that I wanted you in this room. To everyone I needed to make it known to. But what was funny about it was I felt like I had to talk you into it.
Yeah.
So one of my best sales jobs ever, and I used to sell radio, was selling Dawn on coming in here and telling jokes on the radio for a long time because I was like, well, it's not morning television. That was the first thing I thought of. And I was like, you'll be on the air from 3 until 6. I'll take care of you. I promise.
Yeah.
And then
you won't have to get because
it's a lot more work than that. But
my other offer at the time, what I was deciding or weighing on was a morning show anchor in Dallas.
So
at the number one station there, and you're you don't want to get up in the morning.
I already thought I had you sold, and then that little thing popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh. So the only angle I had was the morning TV thing because you had already told me that was pretty miserable. But
yeah, good thing I made the right decision.
The story of Dawn, yes. And it's been a hell of a ride, that is for sure. Mr. Keefe said I need a parlay or par Dawn for the Sounds game tonight.
Oh, that's good.
How did Slay join the team?
Good question.
I'd rather allow him the opportunity to tell that story.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. He filled in before he officially joined the Zone. He filled in on all of the shows. Everybody had him on, and so Babs was out one day, and so Slade said, "Oh, I'll come in." So he came in, and I was interested to see what kind of storyteller he was because behind the curtain, this, one of the most important things clearly is being a good storyteller to do this job well, but. We started talking about Metro Nashville sports and old school stuff and inner city football and I quickly knew Slay's one of the best storytellers to ever freaking walk around this place.
Oh yeah.
And so so I made my position known on that one as well. As did you. So.
Well, and also people might not realize Slay wanted to get into this and did a radio show by himself for, I forget, small station
in Franklin. Over in Cool Springs, yeah.
Yeah.
WAKM.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like busted his butt. Did it?
No commercials.
I think it was like a no commercial 2-hour show or something all by himself.
Yeah.
So it's not like he came in with, zero radio.
Yeah. And let's be clear. Like Slay did not need, me or Don to position anything. He was going to be here. That is for sure. You guys know how talented he is. So anyway, that's a little bit of 3HL history. By the way, I did. You were gone, and I just Donnie Tyndall's name came up on the show.
Oh yeah.
And so I looked up Donnie Tyndall, and I was like, "Where is he with this stupid show cause thing?" And Will Wade, who's from here, got a job while on the same show call, same as Tyndall. And everything was written the same and everything. And so McNeese State hired Will Wade and didn't care about the NCAA stuff. And so he had a 7-game suspension or something, some recruiting things, and then moved on. Now he's at NC State.
Yeah.
While Donnie Tyndall's still coaching and winning a ton of games at his level down in the panhandle of Florida.
Chipola or something?
Something like that, yeah.
College, yeah.
I talked to him, I don't know, several months ago, and he was like, or actually I guess it was a couple of years ago, but he was like, "Hey, man, I'm 40 minutes from 30A. I'm winning a bunch of games. It could be a lot worse." But I noticed.
But he's ready.
Oh, for
to get back.
Sure, he's ready to get back.
Yeah.
So I noticed that he's on the last year of his show cause, his 10-year show cause.
Oh, who's going to hire him?
He's on the last year of that deal. So Slay and I, after the show, I think we came up with that in the last segment. So we texted him, and he was like, "I'll come on with you boys. Let's go." So he's going to come on the show within the next month or so. But I started thinking about some of the because Will Wade has that job, and I'm like, dude, you totally could just get in now, couldn't you? The NCAA has been completely neutered, right?
I know, but that's the thing about the NCAA. Yes, completely neutered, right? But stupid stuff like this, they hold on to.
Oh, they'll try to hold on to it.
Yeah.
I think more schools would be willing to be like, you know what, he's only got 1 year left. Let's bring him in.
But is it
We'll deal
worth
with
it to go through the legal part of all of it?
Right, but the Will Wade thing is there, so maybe just give him the same thing. Give him the 7 games or whatever it was, and then the recruiting restrictions, and because he don't have to recruit necessarily anyway. He can go to the portal and all these things, right?
Right.
But I started to think about Penny Collins is, for those that don't know, is going to the Memphis Grizzlies as an assistant coach there. He left TSU.
Brought up on our chat yesterday, but yeah, he's.
I didn't want to go with it until I talked to him, and so I talked to Penny, and he's always been great to us. So I thanked him for that. But the way he finished last year too, they won and. He did great. But anyway, I started thinking, what about TSU, Donnie Tyndall? Do you think he has to go the assistant route first?
I don't
either. That dude can coach, man.
He's winning big at this junior college.
He was at Tennessee 1 year, and there was an SEC coach that told me, you want to talk about one of the best X's and O's guys and game plan guys in college basketball? It's Donnie Tyndall.
I think nowadays schools will take a chance.
DT, man, if you're out there listening, come on the show, brother. That was fun. Now we'll reconvene on Monday. Everybody, to Dawn's point, let's all keep all of our limbs.
Please be safe. Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and shoot fireworks.
That too. I went and got some Pop-Its for Hads.
Oh, there you go. Ross, thanks for filling in, man. You did a great job for Seth, bro.
Oh, yeah. No problem. Happy to be with y'all this week. It's been a great time.
Appreciate you guys listening. And, Mr. Keefe said, what does 3HL stand for? When we started in January of 2010, we were on noon until 3 o'clock, so it was 3-hour lunch. That's what 3HL stood for.
Now it's 3 hours long. Kind of 4.
How did we come up with 3-hour lunch? That's a funny story, actually, between me, Blaine, Clay Travis, and Brad Willis. Anyway, that's a story for another day.
I want to hear that story. I don't know it.
Got to get out of here.
We'll get that on Monday.
Y'all, be safe this weekend. We appreciate you including us in your lives and in your day. We do not take that for granted, nor do we take that lightly. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Good night. God bless.
See ya.
We want to be a shout-out. Slay's knee.
Keep working, baby. Keep
Every
working.
day I'm going to say that.